Most and interview.
All right, I'm gonna call Adams County Board of Supervisors meeting to order. We're gonna do roll call. Supervisor Gray.
Here.
Supervisor Hutchins. Supervisor Wilson.
Here.
Supervisor Gaines.
Here.
County Attorney.
Present.
Chancery Clerk. Chancery Clerk.
Present.
Deputy Clerk.
Present.
And County Administrator.
Present.
And I am present. Mr. Bradford, would you lead us in prayer?
Yes, that's all I'm saying. That's about it. Oh, gracious Father, we thank you this morning, oh God, for allowing us to see another day, oh God. Father, we just thank you for our strength and our health, oh God. And Father, we just come to petition your throne right now, oh God, to look after our elected officials, continue to keep them safe, oh God, and protected and their families, oh God. Father, we just ask that you continue to keep them close together, oh God, as a strong unit as one. And Father, we just pray, oh God, that you continue to give them wisdom from on high to lead your people. And Father, we just want to pray for this community, oh God. We want to pray for family members that may have lost loved ones. And Father, we just ask, oh God, that you move throughout this community, touching and mending hearts. Father, continue to keep us on one accord, oh God. Father, you said in your word, how can two walk together except they agree? And Father, we just want to agree this morning, oh God, that you continue to uplift this community, this state, and this country, oh God. And Father, we just continue to pray for our first responders, pray for our school teachers, our kids. And we just pray for everyone under the sound of my voice, oh God. Father, continue to make way in this community and in this state and in this country. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Y'all would please say the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we need to approve the minutes from February.
So move.
A motion by Supervisor Gaines, need a second. Second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. President. I think it showed that I might have stepped out for a minute. Robbie, installing the 8-inch pipe down the middle of Hall Road and Sandy Creek Road, 3-foot deep.
Correct.
Apply asphalt. What is that?
That's Denbury. They run a line across Hall Road and Sandy Creek Road for pipeline through there. And they're going
In
to
the middle
install.
of the road?
It's across the road. It ain't through. It's just they gonna cross the road. It ain't in the middle of it. They gonna cross it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's whatever the road is. If it's 20 foot wide, they going 20 foot. You know, through the road.
Okay. That middle of the road kind of confusing me. The minutes say they're gonna do it down the middle of the
They're
road.
crossing the road. They've got it surveyed off and marked and their plats and how deep they're going. And,
They're gonna bore.
yeah, so they're going through, whatever, no, they're gonna dig it and set it and recover it and go back, put asphalt back on it.
Alright, next, I need some, well, this is about the executive session matter pertaining to performance of the nurse practitioner in, Justice Court. The minutes say I made a motion. Let me tell y'all something about making a motion. When somebody say they got a personnel issue, I don't know what the personnel issue is until we actually get in the actual discussion of the executive session. Now, I'm not gonna make a motion on something that I don't believe we should even be in executive session discussing. So part of those minutes, February 22nd. Okay. Motion was made by Supervisor. Anyway, Scott, My only concern with, what I read in the minutes is, when somebody say they got a personnel issue, you make a motion to go into executive session in the blind without even knowing what the personnel issue is, cause didn't nobody say what it was. If they did, I didn't hear them say what it was. My only problem, when the minutes read that, can't find it in the minutes, but it says that, executive session discuss matters pertaining to performance of somebody. I think that need to be said on the front end, where I can know what I'm making a motion on. And, got one more clerical, correction dealing with Supervisor Wilson. I don't know where it's at, but it say super vote, and it's supposed to be supervisor. With necessary corrections, I'm done.
All in favor? Or did you guys?
I was just saying, we normally don't say the name of the person we're going into executive session to discuss. It's a personnel issue, you don't.
You give
I mean,
enough
it's
information,
You got to give enough information.
So they know why you're
I didn't get the
executive.
information.
and so usually we give as much information as we can without, you know,
Using the name.
well, and try not to. So,
Okay, I was just curious.
but you got to give enough so the public will know. So it's a kind of
Okay.
you do as much as you can.
I'm talking about when we discussing it, then we go back out and say what to the public one thing, but when we discuss it, we get the information, right?
Right, and we try not to go, when we do the close determination, we try not to get into as much detail. We want to get into as little detail as possible for the close determination because you haven't actually gone into executive session. And so you're trying to give just enough. So if someone says, I need to talk about how, you know, how good a job or bad a job the board attorney is doing, they usually cut it off right then and there. Or if it's, I want to talk about a person in the sanitation department, you know, I don't think that they're doing what they're supposed to. So we didn't get very much, but we got enough to make the determination that that's going to qualify. And then we released to the general public that we're talking about the sanitation department, a personnel's performance. If you're talking about the board attorney though, it's really you're going to know it's the board attorney and probably what happened with the other department that Ricky's alluding to.
Yeah. The last thing I missed out is the recess meeting we had at the safe room. And what it says is that the discussion was held regarding the United Way Islands in Mississippi financial hardship study. That ain't enough information to me. The NAACP sent us a letter, wanted us to attend an event dealing with bringing all necessary players together to deal with poverty in the community. All stakeholders were sent a letter, and Alice is just one entity that they got data from to explain to the people some of the situation. But the main thing is to deal with the poverty that we have in the community. So the minutes need to reflect that.
Yeah, and my notes I had there was an agenda, and they had a title on top of the agenda, and that was, I thought the meeting should be done, and materials that were passed out, I think it would be attached to the minutes as well. So that should give everyone an idea of what else is going on. If you want to include the invitation, Supervisor Gray, that's within the board's prerogative. If they want to, it can be any material. It has to be date, attendance, any motions and the result of those motions, and then the statute says any other material that the supervisors desire to include. So if you want to include anything more like the invitation or whatever, we certainly can put that in there.
If we would have just put the invitation in there, it would have pretty much explained what the meeting was all about. And I mean, reading this right here, if I missed that meeting, just reading what I see here, I don't understand nothing about the whole meeting that was over there if I'm just reading what was in this minutes right here.
Okay.
The letter that they sent us clearly explained what the meeting was all about.
Okay.
And it's to get all the stakeholders in the community together from A to Z to try to deal with poverty, education, blighted houses, or whatever the case may be. Like I say, if I'd have missed that meeting, reading these minutes, I wouldn't have had a clue what's going on. Thank you.
All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we need to approve the dockets. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson, can I get a second? Second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion?
Yes, sir, Mr. President. Pretty much the same thing till I do the clarification. I got something from the attorney, but it's not clear. He gonna look back into it for me. It's pretty much the same thing that I'll be voting against. Scott, do you have a clarification on the pen, what we can do with that?
I will call the department that you wanted me to call, and we'll talk to technical support and see if there's any different thing on that.
As of now, what we need to do about that?
As of now, there's not a liability on the board's end, according to the Ethics Commission that I found.
I'm straight with that. I'm talking about the candy issue I was speaking to you
Oh,
earlier.
the candy, I can tell you I did look into the candy, and I can tell you what it said on that. If a municipal governing authority, and this would be the same, because we have the same statute that we can draw from, finds and determines that a donation of candy as described in your letter would be for the purpose of advertising and bringing into favorable notice the opportunities, possibilities, and resources of that city or this county, and recording such determination upon the official minutes as duly found and determined, and the candy could be so donated from available funds within the limits amount stated for in the statute. So this is that advertisements of possibility statute that we draw on from time to time. Under that statute, the Mississippi Attorney General has found that giving out candy is something that could be done.
At the
But
end of the day, it's illegal.
it's legal if y'all make that finding that it is in fact,
So did we make that finding?
y'all have not as of yet made that finding. So if you want to make that finding, you certainly can. But if you don't, then it's not.
To make it legal, we need to make the finding.
Yes, sir.
So I guess, do you need a motion or something?
Yes, if you think that passing out candy gives favorable, what do they call it? Opportunities and possibilities and resources of the county, you think it sheds positive light about the county, then you can make that finding. If the board doesn't, then you can't pay it. On that.
Where the board stand on that?
What candy?
Evidently, at the past two parades,
This happened at the last previous board meeting too. Yeah, Canada parade.
some county departments passed out candy.
Oh, well, that's not a problem. I don't see a problem with it. I don't see one problem with it. I mean, I'll be fine with it. I don't know. In the parade, children,
Basically, you're saying any county vehicles that are in the parade,
no.
or what do you, I understand, but who are we giving it to?
The children in the parade, passing
Anyone
it out.
anyone that's out.
Just throwing candy to the
Okay, yeah,
individuals, yeah. And kids out the
I
window.
mean, we give it to everybody, every club in the parade, or is it like county?
No, if I'm correct, you riding down the street just throwing candy like everybody else, but that's right, not giving to individual. No,
I would assume
Is it-
that we're standing out throwing candy to the kids.
Is it
But
legal
it is
for
legal.
us to buy? You say it's
It
legal.
is legal if
The board makes it.
if the board says that this candy is passed out for the purposes of advertising and bringing into favorable notice the opportunities, possibilities, and resources of the county.
So my-
Which
No, a second.
and if you do that, then you can do it. That's what.
Got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins,
No,
second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
So I have a question, so we can go ahead and let the other two checks go now that we've been holding?
For candy, if,
with that finding.
All right, so now I believe we're in discussion on the docket, so I need, all in favor,
Alright,
all opposed.
I'm just voting against what I always vote against on this. You need to know?
And the date of the docket.
I get to it. I got to find
Next on the agenda, we're going to approve the monthly financial reports of Adams County Sheriff's Office and Chancellor Clerk's Office. Y'all have everything, Paige?
Yes.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson, can I get a second?
Second.
Second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. City government business, if any. Department reports.
Good morning, Board. How you doing?
Good morning.
This is Adams County Veteran Service Officer. I have 2 issues. February the 16th, the Secretary for the VA. The VA has made several proposals to update some disabilities. They are auditory, PTSD, and there was one more, sleep apnea. And what they're proposing, they're gonna make some changes. Tonight is right now it's worth 10%. It's kind of one of the easiest disabilities to get. But under the criteria that they're getting ready to possibly put into law is that it's going to be rated at 0%. And the same thing with the sleep apnea. It's going to be rated at, it's going to go from 50% down to 0. And in order to get anything higher, you know, you're going to have some good documentation for that. Also, this won't take effect until, my second issue won't take effect until July 1st of 2022. And it has to deal with the student loan forgiveness. You know, most veterans, when they become 100% permanent total, they have to do an application. The application still has to be done up until July 1st, 2022. And what they're proposing that they're gonna do, they're gonna get a list from the VA every quarter, every month or so how they're gonna do it. And they're gonna go off of that list and they will no longer have to do an application. But this does not go into effect until July 1st, 2022. Now, here's the flip side of that. We're several months out from July. And if a veteran chooses to opt out of the student loan forgiveness, they are responsible for their student loan. And I would advise every veteran, if you are 100% permanent in total, please take advantage of this opportunity. Do not opt out of it because after July 1, you are responsible for your student loan. And that's all I have for you.
Thank you, Mel.
Good morning, Board. How you doing?
Good morning.
I'm here to present the calls for service for the month of February for E911. Excuse me. The Natchez Police Department had a total of 1,179 calls. The Sheriff's Department had a total of 590 calls. The Fire Department had a total of 46 calls. Also, I wanted to make a request, correction on the request for travel. I previously submitted hotel stays for 2. I needed to add a 3rd. It was supposed to be presented.
Andrea Pickett.
It's for Geneva Bacon. It's gonna be for
It's in
March 15, March 16. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Also, I submitted a request for
Now,
reimbursement.
let me stop there.
Okay.
You said you need to change it from 2 to 3?
It was two rooms I submitted the first time. And I went back and I submitted for a 3rd room. It's a total of 3 people.
Okay, it's in here.
Okay.
We need to approve the third.
Well, I mean, that was in my, I was gonna hit it here in my part, but if y'all wanna go ahead and do it now. So she's got one night for Geneva Bacon. She has meals and lodging for Jasmine Chapman, meals and lodging for Ms. Smith, and meals for Andrea Pickett. You heard the request?
So,
Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
I thought we already approved that. The only thing she wanna get approved is additional room for the.
I also included the reimbursement forms. The original request for them was brought before you all, but the checks got cut or didn't get cut and they left without their checks. So everything came out of pocket.
We do not have to approve reimbursement if we have already traveled. You do not have to approve that. But
These are travel vouchers.
have they already traveled?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
For the reimbursements they had, that's the February travel that they did.
Okay.
So that's what the reimbursements for.
Right.
Yeah,
We
help
do
us
not
out on
have to
this, man.
approve that.
They're also going somewhere in March, correct?
March 15th, March 16th.
So it's.
So we approved that one.
Well, there's no dates on here.
They approved for two. What she's saying is that they got one additional person that we haven't approved for, but she wanted to approve for that third person, which is Geneva Bacon.
Correct.
Just
So do you have the
One.
form?
Just
for her?
one.
Because the other two had already been approved.
Right.
Did you fill out a form for her?
Yes,
But he
Right
was
here.
saying he has reimbursements for them. We don't have to have to approve the reimbursement. We just have
We don't
to
have-
approve the travel
Right, because
for that.
Yeah.
person.
seven has already been approved.
Yeah.
So we don't have to get reapproved for the reimbursement.
Yeah.
They already been approved to travel. They just didn't get the checks cut in time, so they get their money at the back end now. Because the checks weren't cut in time.
correct.
But it's all been approved, everything except that one person, additional person that she's added.
So these three are for what's already done.
Yeah.
This one is for,
That's the one she's adding. So
she's
That's the
adding,
one, that's the only one she,
But we need the other
That's the
form
one.
that goes with it. That's just the hotel form. That's not the basic travel form that they fill out.
okay, so we need the right form. Can you get the right form? This is for travel in the next couple of weeks?
That's the
Dates
travel
at
for
16th.
next week.
for next week.
Yeah, to get us the right form and we'll come back to it. and approve it. That's a reimbursement, so you don't need approval for reimbursement.
And she's not gonna, their check is not gonna be ready. You said when is it put?
It's the March 15th and 16th. She's aware.
Okay.
I think Paige is checking on that form.
Okay.
Yeah, something else.
Is that all you
The
got? Go ahead.
last thing is, I submitted a request for demotion of an employee, her request of pay. She's dropping down to just a regular dispatcher from a ship captain.
It's not on here.
I submitted it to Corvette, she's supposed, I'm sorry, Human Resources, and Corvette said she had it this morning.
You got a name?
It's Shanicia Miller.
Oh, wait a minute. Pay rate change to $12 an hour.
Correct.
You heard the request.
So move.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it.
I'll just.
We'll wait on that. We'll hit it back.
Oh.
All right.
Good morning, board. Just got a couple things on it. Now on one side, Motorola did submit two of those proposals for our new consoles. I did give those to the, Andy King on those two, bids what they proposed, but I also asked her to see if we go to the bank and get a lower interest rate, on what they, prescribed to us for the new consoles. So we go ahead and, we trying to get them, look at, cause trying to get parts, if we go ahead and agree on it, we're looking at a year out of trying to get completed anyway. So she got the details. We just need her, if she can go ahead and try to get, better interest, on the bank than going through Motorola. I think normally the past administrator, that's what we normally did on the lease purchase.
You just need 2 written bids for a lease purchase from a bank.
Yeah, so that's what, you don't need no motion for that to do it. Okay, I just didn't want to know that.
If the board doesn't want her to do it, she won't, but typically she goes and gets them and brings them to the board.
Yeah, I think that's a better way. We'll save more money than going through Motorola, their financial system. I think we can get a small interest loan on that, plus our monthly payments on it will be small. On another thing, what we're doing across the state, as most of everyone might not know, that our telecommunications dispatchers are not labeled as first responders. So what we're doing across the state, we're trying to get to our legislators and acknowledging that our dispatchers be first responders, which open them up for more benefits throughout the state. So what I'm asking the board this morning, if we can just do a local resolution, I got a copy of it, what we're trying to do statewide, just acknowledging our telecommunicators as first responders, so we can build a collective level as we send it to the governor, so he can pass off on it and eventually send up to the federal level, acknowledge them as first responders. It won't cost us anything. It's just something we're trying to do for our telecommunicators, giving them their recognition. And so I ask the board if we can do a resolution for them local.
You heard the request.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
All right.
Do you have that resolution?
Yeah, I got a little copy right here. Give it
Yeah,
to you.
make sure you get the page. Sorry for interrupting.
No, you good. It's the same thing statewide, you just copy. Also, like beginning this month, we did a mask get out. We know we have a lot of masks, a lot of people came, get a lot of elderly. We did run out, so however, we're gonna try to get some more. So if you got some constituents that need it, I know a lot of elderly generation was wanting the KN95, so we're trying to get another shipment in. Once we get them in, we'll let you guys know that you can pass them on to your constituents. That's it, pending any questions.
We had talked about last board meeting about levying an additional $1 and $2. The statute had changed. Brad actually brought it to our attention that before we weren't allowed to make that assessment except on landlines only, but they've now expanded it to all lines. It doesn't really appear that we required any type of advertising or anything. We really can just decide to levy it. But then we have to work with, the agencies that are providing telephone service to how that money's gonna get deposited and everything else. But in the past, we used to have money that fully supported your 911. And then as cell phones came of age, they no longer use landlines, and a lot of people just don't do them altogether. And then those that do typically do it with voice over, internet phones, and that wasn't covered either. So this includes, it fills in that gap. We've been losing money, when I got here, we were losing money. I have no doubt that we were consistently collecting less on that revenue than what we had. But in the past, when we were funded more, this fee would help pay things like that new program that we're getting to at least give us enough to pay the debt service and that kind of thing. So it's something that can be done. I got the statute. If y'all want me to pass it around, I certainly can. Certainly something that I've done in the past, and it's just $1 or $2, depending on what it is. So if that's something the board wants to do.
My only question was, you raised $1, we only get 30 cents of that dollar?
Right, it's,
Where's the other 70 cents?
but it goes to the state, to a kitty where they normally get that money. They pay for it's like a fund for the communicators for the AT&T, the Sprint. It's a collective agreement that the state has made with that when they first set it up. So right now, that's where all that money, they're fighting now with that money. They got all that money in the pocket trying to figure out how to spend it. So that's where that money goes to that board.
Is there a possibility it's gonna come back to the counties that sent it?
Right, so normally the way it works is, if, when you let the communication in your county, that we speak to the people they have a commission that oversees what the board of supervisors does for that, so they're responsible for reaching out to AT&T, Sprint, say, hey, look, they have increased your fees, so they're like the watchdogs of it. So they monitor that, making sure the state get their portion and the county get their portion. So it's like a self-government business that they normally do. But we're trying to get the other money that the state gets, it's going to a pool where we're trying to collectively see what we build our 911 infrastructure. So we're trying to get a complete state 911 infrastructure for all the counties, because a lot of counties are still writing stuff on a piece of paper. So we're trying to build an infrastructure, statewide system, that if anything goes down, 911 will not lose its continuity across the board.
Here go my question. 70% going to where?
Normally state, don't quote me on that, but I know they have to get their percentage. I had to do the research on it. It might have changed.
And just say 70 was 50-50. I don't know, because how many millions of dollars they got already that they don't want to give to the counties?
Well, it ain't that they don't want to give to the counties. According to state statutes, you have to spend it on certain things. And then the board, they try to get back to the legislative so they can try to fine tune it, because where we at on the money is, they just can't release the money because it doesn't clear in the legislative of how you spend it. So right now they're trying to divide that monies amongst all the 911 PSAPs, all the counties in the state. So they're trying to do it fair. I think they brought it up at your last Super Bowl. So that's where they're at now. They're trying to figure out, because right now they trying to redo the legislation. Who's gonna be on the board to distribute money? They want to make sure they get fair participation in overseeing the money. Because before, I think supervisors went on it, municipalities went on it. It was just law enforcement and certain people. So now everybody want to sit at the table. So they're trying to redo the statutes to make sure they got board of supervisors, the sheriffs, the police, circuit clerk, make sure everybody gets on board to figure out how to spend the money. So that's what we are now.
So my question is, we got all these millions of dollars that they trying to figure out how to spend, and we gonna do something else and get 30 or 40% and give them more millions of dollars that they gonna be trying to figure out how to spend. They ain't even spend the money they got.
Well, I'm saying, even like right now, even with the current levies on it, that money, the portion that still is going to the state. We can't take that from the state, because the state got to get their part of it. But what we're saying is, if we increase it, our monies will increase on the local level. But not as, they're not just going to turn over $1 million to Adams County. They're not going to do that. But what I'm saying is, it's something to start giving us some more money on the checks that's coming back to the county. That's what we're saying.
Let me stop. Could I get the board to deal with this at another board meeting? Where I can do a little bit more research on this and talk to some people in other counties and find out what's going on, because when I went to this conference, there was a whole lot of upset supervisors at that conference about this money that they just holding on to and trying to figure out where it going. So until I get a little more clear understanding of where this money gonna go, I need to get a clear understanding.
Sure. No, you don't have to answer it today, Supervisor Gray, and we'll get more information and try to get our heads wrapped around it. That sounds like Brad knows a good deal about it. I'll give him a call and then we'll research it further and let you know. But no, you don't have to do it today. It was just something that came up and I reported back that is in fact the law. Not that I'm not surprised that Brad was right, but just confirmed it. And the only thing I can say on it is that we have had a deficiency for years and it's gotten steadily worse. And we've been asking for them to make up for this shortfall by including phone lines that are not necessarily in it. But we want to make sure that the state's not taking all of our money and not doing anything with it.
Well, the reason for my question was, if we're gonna charge every citizen $1 per phone, and the dollar's not coming back to us, and it's going, most of it's going somewhere else, I was wondering if we had a different way to do that.
Yeah, what I'm saying, you can't, the state gotta get there because it's like state taxes. We can't bypass the state.
That's a pretty hefty tax.
Well, I'm saying, that's,
70%.
you know,
But I'm not shooting at that. And I'm glad you know so much about it. I mean, like, maybe you need to be on that board trying to help figure out where that money goes.
well, we, 911 commission, we do have a representative on there, so that's where it's at. It's just, I think what happened was everybody saw all this billions and billions of dollars, but it been over the years accumulated because the state statute wasn't clear enough, and ain't nobody just gonna spend the money because we got a man that put people in jail now, so that's why, you know, everybody don't wanna, you know, just go out and spend this money if not 911 related. So I understand Supervisor Gray what he wanna do, but we'll get some more clarification on that, so.
Appreciate it.
All right, thanks.
Thank you, Brad.
Morning.
Morning.
Well, we're still on the burn ban, and so we're just letting people know. And we've been pretty much, last week, maybe about 5 or 6 fires we've been having, dealing with people still trying to burn. And what they have to understand, even though we're under ban, you cannot burn if you don't have control burns, unless you have a permit from the state. So, no setting fire fields and all that until the ban is lifted. And then it all depends on what rain we're gonna get this week also. So if we don't have enough rain and the deadline is the 14th, we might have to expand it. So we're gonna look at the weather gonna go this week on that. And also like the sheriff department.
Mr. President, so my question is, what is the consequences if somebody get caught doing exactly what you just said they don't supposed to be doing? Because I noticed Cleveland County, Hines County, 4 or 5 more counties that added a ban too. So isn't any consequences?
Yeah, that's why I just gonna thank the sheriff department for going out and writing tickets.
Okay.
So they have been going out writing tickets, when they get a call saying someone's burning. You know, people in using people they didn't know, but it's been almost a month now. That's up to $500, from $100 to $500. So,
thank
you. Appreciate the sheriff department going out and taking care of that. And because people say they didn't know, but it's almost a month now, so that's no excuse. And for our LP burn, we had pretty good turnout with the volunteers, and we had the National Fire Department people showed up for the burn. So I thank them also. And last week, did a fire extinguisher training at the airport. And I don't know if the board knows, but they pretty much don't have a alarm system out there for as fire. Now I don't know about burglar alarm, anything like that, but as far as they are not monitored out there. So if anything happens, unless somebody see it, you want nobody to know, especially during nighttime, because there's no one out there at night.
Mr. President, let me ask this question. When we in the process of putting the cameras up, we didn't include the airport or nothing like that there.
I mean, it's the sheriff, we can ask the sheriff. I don't think so.
We asked the sheriff to
At the sheriff house.
highlight, areas of need for criminal fighting, and let the sheriff say, these are the areas that we need. And, while we want to protect our property for airport, that's not a high area of interest that they're trying to fight. But that doesn't mean we can't.
So
Yeah,
my question is, if we don't have no way of knowing if something catch a fire, and we invest in all this money at the airport, will you think it'd be feasible to get one of those cameras to put out there? What do you suggest we do to
We need some
protect
kind
the
of
airport?
monitoring system for, especially like fire or something like that, because the only one they have, it has to be set off manually. And if you're inside the building, you don't even hear it. You go outside, you can barely hear it. If you talk, you won't even hear it close to the building. You have to be way out. by the runway, you can really hear real good now, like, and what they're telling me, at nighttime, there's no one there, so if something happens, catch a fire or whatever, won't nobody know until they probably get there in the morning. And it's on the ground then.
So
Cameras have consistently been something we can definitely do. That's a very economic way for lots of different reasons. So.
yeah, but Mr. Smith, I mean, just your take on it. Would you be recommend in your position? Would you actually recommend the camera or an alarm system or alarm system and a camera?
Both.
Oh,
Yeah, because like I said, the camera might not pick up.
yeah, that's what I'm
The
saying.
alarm, if it's smoke, it'll pick up, and then if it's monitored by an alarm system or a company, they can get to, unless it's monitored by dispatch, just go into dispatch, and they can get fire trucks out there.
But still,
Aren't we supposed to be doing extensive renovations out there on the airport pretty soon? So when we're doing that, that'd be the best time to install all that?
At the
The
moment,
problem would to include that in on it.
I think temporarily an OLED camera wouldn't be, on the building. I think it would be, I think if we're gonna put cameras on the building, it'd be better to wait.
Yeah.
An OLED camera would be
In
set
the
out,
parking lot, just
right, Shane?
Yes, sir, you can put an old cam wherever you wanna put it, as
But I
long
mean-
as they have Wi-Fi, otherwise you have to get a pole cam.
They got something out there.
Then it wouldn't be a problem, as long as it's got Wi-Fi, you can put a Wi-Fi booster in there and put it out out on the pad somewhere facing back all the hangars in the building.
Or at least,
I see,
at least
same thing
towards
with
the
that.
road facing
The
gates.
camera's outside, you can get something inside. By the time that camera pick up,
they pick up heat though, don't they? The
What I was gonna
things.
suggest is find out what they're doing at other airports and get the, Mr. Nelson to look at what they're doing at other airports to alleviate them same problem. Maybe they already have something in place.
That's what I was about to say. I think Darryl just needs to get with Richard.
yeah,
between the two of them,
He brings something to us next.
I was gonna basically say that too, you know what I'm saying, cause I'm be so big on that communication. I know before we make total decisions, I know it's a county airport, but, I mean, we definitely should get with, Mr. Richard and the airport board first, get them the opportunity, you know, to see what they take is on it. We might not know what they process. We want to have a board, how they address that. So, you know, that'd probably be a great thing. You get with, Mr. Nelson and bring it back.
We have an airport commissioner in the meeting
Yeah.
back there, so if you would, Mr. Callen, if you'll get with Darryl, let him know when y'all's next meeting is, maybe y'all can all get together and figure out a good plan.
okay, I sure will.
well, in the short term too, get with Richard, get Daryl and Richard together before the actual meeting so they can
Yeah.
present something to the board, to us too.
All right.
That's it.
Thanks, sir.
Go ahead, Brad.
Good morning, board. I would like to hire Edwin Smith for an IT assistant at a rate of $12.60 an hour.
So move.
Motion by Supervisor Gray. We get a second.
Hey,
Second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Did the paperwork.
Yeah, good work.
It's not signed by
It's not
Joe.
signed by Crystal.
Okay.
So we have to withdraw it.
No, go get Crystal to sign, get that set up. She's not here today. Is she gonna be back?
Not today,
Like,
can you say?
she can't start until Crystal's got him set up, until that's signed.
Okay.
She's already set up?
He works for the county.
You already works for the county?
Okay.
So sure, it's not a problem. That's like a new, yeah, no, that's fine, that's okay.
Okay.
Bring that.
While we discussing that, I'm hearing this.
Okay.
I hope nothing happened to our HR or any other employee. We just say, what if she was out for a month, then what would we do?
The same thing.
Yeah, we would.
And,
That's
what I'm saying, maybe
Somebody had
every-
to-
Okay.
That's what I was thinking, maybe.
And that concludes my departmental report. Is there anything you need from
You
me?
carried it?
All in favor?
Uh,
All opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you very much. You all have a great day.
Thank you, Brandon.
Good morning.
More.
Yeah. Permission to, hire for Deputy Clerk Roger Nika Terrell resigning last week.
You're looking for permission to what?
Post the Deputy Clerk position and hire.
We need a lot of resolution.
The board has to hire, so.
Marla, we need a letter.
May I ask for permission to hire, like the other clerk, see it in the previous?
The statute provides that the Board of Supervisors appoint the Assistant Justice Court Administrators.
Yes, sir. I've read that statute and I glanced over, and also it says that they may. They don't have to.
That just means they don't have to appoint any assistants.
Right. But with you all having 4 other positions open, I'm quite sure y'all have a lot on y'all schedule. May I do it more? You know, I'm the only department head that can't hire for their department. And previous clerks have. They've done it for years.
I don't write the law, I just tell you what it says.
Right. It stated may. I have that statute.
Yes.
Right.
But the way you're reading it is may either the board or the administrator. It would have said that if that's what the statute meant. All that's saying is that the Board of Supervisors doesn't have to actually hire you any help. Right? So if they're gonna help hire you, they're the ones that do it under the statute. I mean, I agree with everything you're saying, but that's not what the legislature said. There's lots of things I don't agree with what the legislature does.
Right, but for past 20+ years, the deputy clerk, the court clerk has been hired for their office. And so is all other departments with the county. And I'm asking for the board input, how would they like to vote on it? But I'm asking that the clerk, the department heads do the hiring for their department.
Scott, what's your recommendation?
Is it against the law?
I mean, my opinion is the Board of Supervisors are supposed to hire the Assistant Justice Court Administrators. You know, if you want to ask the Attorney General's opinion to confirm that, we can, but that's not really in the statute.
Yeah, the easiest way to handle this is pretty much Brenna, Ms. Johnson could be in on whatever we got to do, and she make her recommendation to the board like a lot of other department heads do, and pretty much we'll do it like that, and it still be like she hiring who she want.
Right, because the last process I was not included in at all. And you know, if that statute reads that way, that statute being the same way from when Ms. Better was here, why wasn't it done then? You see what I'm saying? It comes across as
Two wrongs, one right.
I think the reason we did that last time, Scott, is,
was due to the
Hold on a second.
Agree.
Ms. Barner, hold on just a second. Kevin, go ahead.
the reason we did that last time, that we might have some liability if we're not in on the hiring, because we didn't go through the process. Is that right, Scott?
I mean, it would have been you're illegally paying someone's salary, so that'd be your concern.
So do we need the Attorney General's opinion just to clarify?
Brenna, would you feel comfortable with being on the interview, since that's your department, and you pretty much know more about what you're looking for than us and recommended somebody to us?
Repeat that, Mr. Grant.
I say, would it be okay if when whoever interview, you part of the process, and after the interview, you have a recommendation to the board?
Okay.
Instead of going through a attorney general, I mean, that's the easiest way to me.
I mean, and I don't disagree with her there's lots of statutes that make sense, so, you know, I don't disagree with you, but I do disagree with you on your reading of the statute.
So could we do it like that, Mr. Attorney?
Absolutely.
So we're gonna
I think that would
advertise.
be a good thing to do is say, because she's gonna have to be working with these people or answering to her, so you definitely want her input. I think.
Her request is to begin to advertise for the open position. Can I get a motion?
So
All right, thank you.
Second.
Got a motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed?
What about accepting the resignation letter?
Varda, did you have a resignation letter?
I do, and, I think I got a letter for accepting her resignation letter.
When did she resign?
Thursday? The 4th, is that the 4th?
There's the third. Thursday was the third.
You have a copy of that?
I
Friday.
don't have a copy with me, but it's a copy.
Can you bring us the copy of the letter?
Thursday was the third, Friday was
Brian,
Yeah, I think I may,
can you
but
just,
I
can you
didn't
just,
take it. I may have a copy.
yeah, can I just send a copy to Corvette? Of the,
I can't.
can you send a copy of the resignation letter and your acceptance letter to Corvette? Can you just email it over?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks.
Is that all you have?
She gone.
the
Good morning, Board.
Good morning.
A couple items. First is obviously the report from February. 285 requests for service, 183 transports, 8 minutes and 39 seconds in the city with 89% reliability, 1501 in the county, 89 as well. You note both the compliance percentage and the response times improved this month. And that's directly related to the addition of those paramedics that we talked about in last month's meeting. So as we continue to increase these staff members and deploy the more units, the better this gets. 62 refusals after we had arrived and provided treatment. We had 21 calls where there's no patient there when we get there again. This number continues to stay high, and we're trying to break it down. Right now, there's not a repetition by address related to these. So it's different addresses each month. So we're not picking up any repetitious pattern, but they're calling for EMS, letting us respond out. They've either gone POV or say there's nobody there. 23 site calls. Once again, Natchez PD and Adams County SO doing a jam-up job of keeping us safe. They're clearing those scenes, relaying that information back into 911. 911's giving us a clear go in, and our crews are loving it. So those two departments are doing a really good job. We only had 2 flights from the field, and there were 228 times where we had more than one ambulance on calls simultaneously in the county for the month of February. We participated in an airport tabletop drill, which, as y'all know, there were state officials there that were going through that. Covered the Mardi Gras parade. We had 18 ALS sprint days where we were out in an ALS sprinter, actually sprinting calls ahead of the ambulances. No crew members out sick during February with COVID or otherwise. Merritt did a really good job of reducing their wall time and their average offload time, so that process continues to work really good with us. We're doing good with that. Employee of the Month spotlight was Joseph Ashcraft, or Jody Ashcraft. He's a paramedic, single grandparent raising his grandchild and enjoys woodworking on his days off. He is a solid, dependable employee, does quality patient care, and he's always there. He never misses a shift. This guy's amazing. New addition to the team, a name y'all probably all know, Walter Mackel, He's been everything from a sheriff's deputy to a firefighter to a police officer, and now he's fixing to start in the world of EMS. I really feel like that's a good fit for him because he's got a heart of compassion that he really likes to take care of people. So we're going to start promoting him through, and his goal is to go all the way through the paramedic training. Second item, I emailed you and Scott it was already an ordinance or something written, a letter of support endorsing the UPL process in the state of Mississippi. Did y'all get that? I would respectfully request that if y'all get a chance to review that and discuss it with the board members, that y'all please do that. Alabama successfully passed theirs last week. Each state is getting on board with this. It is not going to cost the county any money. This is money that's already in the Medicaid program that's not being dispersed out to EMS. And it goes back and it's based off the number of calls that we do here. So that money's sitting there for Adams County based on the number of Medicaid transports that we do, and we're not getting it right now. That's definitely something that we need because we can take every bit of that and put it back into pay and incentive to continue hiring staff members. So if we could get the board support on that, I would be most grateful. It was just a draft letter. Yeah, it was just a draft letter.
Tim, I'm sorry, I missed that.
Okay.
Resend it to me, okay?
Yeah, because it was just made something simple, and I believe the Hines board was actually voting on theirs. They've either already voted on or are voting on it today as well. So we're just trying to get as many boards across the state to support this as we can, because it has taken us a couple of years to get this passed into an actual bill and get it before the committee for hopeful approval. So we're wanting our boards to support that. It's a lot of effort. I can attest to what it does because we've done this in Louisiana 8 years ago. They've been in this process for 8 years, and it makes a immediate driven impact on EMS providers across the state. So we appreciate y'all's support and consideration of that.
I trust Mr. Howard, if y'all think this is something we can pass pending legal review.
Yeah, as long as the resolution doesn't
Well, and it's
get us on the hook for anything.
Well, no, it doesn't, and there is no cost back to the county on this. This is simply us taking advantage of money that's already there, that's sitting in a kitty, kind of what we were all talking about earlier. The state's got that money, well, they're sitting there with it, and we want it to come back into the county and be utilized to improve county response by increasing staffing. So y'all's consideration is greatly appreciated.
I'll make that motion pending legal review.
Second. Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion?
Mr. President, I already had no discussion, but I just want to thank you for finding it, and like you said, it's going to benefit the community, so thank you.
Thank you.
All in favor?
No.
All opposed? Ayes have it, few have it, and Supervisor Gaines second.
Scott, did you get that other that you requested?
The letter?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I got the letter right there. On the resolution, send it to me, and if you have pages,
Okay.
CC her on it, so we'll review it.
Okay.
I passed a letter around about the thing. If y'all want Tim to stay, talk about this in executive session. Remember, we had a complaint.
The letter you just read.
Oh,
Is that good enough for us to?
good enough for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank y'all. Let me know if y'all need anything.
Right. Good enough for me.
Yeah. I didn't think so, but I just want to make sure for excuse me.
Good morning.
First item I have is a spoiled dirt request at 17 Meadow Ridge Road.
So moved.
Second. Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Just give you an update, Kempro will be in spraying, next week. They'll make their first spraying next week, and then next one sometime in July. But they will be here next week to do the, first spraying. Second thing I have, I see Brad's gone, but, Carter's Point Road, the water's across the road, so we're gonna lock the gate today down at Carter's Point, Thornburg Lake Road. And the port's still okay for us to launch boats right now. It's not up that high to lock that gate there, but, Thornburg and Carter's Point, we're gonna shut lock both gates there. And like I said, Brad's gone, but I just want to let him know that too. Other than that, that's all I have. Other than Clearwater Hendrick Heights, we had a
meeting out on site last week, and, they were gonna give the contractor a notice to proceed, and he was supposed to start today. He's got a 60-day, window to complete that job.
Well, Mr. President, Robert, got, two things. In the roads we spraying, if it's possible, those roads we spray, if any of them, we've been trying to get those ditches pulled. I know they've been busy, it's
They
been
work
raining.
all around, yeah.
And that's, before they actually spray some of those roads, if any way it's possible, if it's some of those roads that really need pulling, will we try to get them pulled first, so think that.
And it don't take long to activate if it, once it touches that grass or whatever's out there, within a 45-minute window, it's activated, the chemical is, so it should take place, do it. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I said down on Airport Road, stuff that, had been last week today, they were trying to finish picking up a few piles they had there, so they are trying to pull ditches, but now we got aim, so.
Yeah, we got rain, so.
But yeah, I think next week they're coming in and they're notifying all the residents that do not want to spray in front of their yard. They come by and get the signs, or they still should have some signs, and, Marion's been contacting the residents.
Okay. And the second thing, do the road department, bill Broadmoor Utility for the fire hydrant?
Correct, been doing it ever since I've been here.
Okay, well, I did get a call from,
Sent them one last week.
she said that she had a XYZ, she didn't have a $4,000 bill, that she did not have complete detail of what it was for. And she said it's like XYZ, this XY.
She spoke with Meg about it already at the office, and that's the reason I know about, but Steve and them had completed the fire hydrant, got it installed, got it finished or whatever, and, she was wanting to know why they don't do their own, which Broadmoor they ought to do their own. But I mean, we've always done it since we've been here, we've always built them for them.
Do they own what?
Fire.
Fire.
They got somebody out there to do it?
I don't know, she asked that question, and when I told Meg, I said, yeah, I mean, they welcome to do their own fire, whatever, I mean, I guess, but I'm saying, we've done it ever since I've been here, and before, and that's how we've always built them.
I think what she doing there was trying to make sure why she wanted to know what XYZ, because she was wondering, did they get billed for digging the fire hydrant and for digging and covering up the fire hydrant, because at that point in time, remember we was on the coast, our backhoe was in the shop and they had to pay Sid Smith to dig it and cover it, because it was talking about opening, and she's trying to make sure that they wasn't getting billed twice for that. I did understand that much.
So she wants itemized bill.
She want itemized what was they charged for, basically. Because she said just say like XYZ this much, XYZ this much. So she didn't know if what was being charged. I think that was her major concern about it, because remember our backhoe was in the shop and they wanted the whole company, they had to pay, said to dig, they didn't want to pay twice.
Okay.
But I told her I'll get back with her. Or either get an itemized bill.
Whatever, that's just a few $100 what they pay, but we'll still we'll get an itemized bill of the parts, the hydrants, whatever we did, get it sent to her.
Yeah.
How she breaks it down, what we charge or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, anything else?
Anybody? Robert, what do we need to do when citizens in the county have problems with sewage? Do they call a health department? I mean,
They should. You talking about a neighbor having a complaint with another neighbor, or raw sewer or whatever, running maybe on our right of way or behind or whatever, that's correct. They need to get a hold to.
Well, that is not working.
Not working.
Because if sewer coming out, water shooting out, and now sewer coming out all over somebody's property, and it haven't even rained, and they saying that's rain water, and it's smelling like, hey man, I don't know who, could we get a contact person with the health department, because this just ain't working.
I'll get you one. I mean, I know one, but I want to make sure that is correct who we contact, but I will find out 100% what name they want. And plus, if they're saying it's water and it's Adams County water, I know Adams County water will come do a sample on site and let you know if it is water, as far as their water. They can do that on site, because I know we were working on Robbins Lake. We had a problem in the middle of the road. And we didn't know if it was something coming out of our siphon pipe or if they had a leak, so they done a sample and it was not a leak on their line. It was in that just holding in that siphon pipe. So they can do a test on site, Adams County water can, and let the residents know if it is water,
Let me ask you another question. Do we have a list of the area that the city have sewer in the county? Do we have a something to show us? Cause I know they got a lot of water.
Morgantown, I think the city took over Huber. I know for sure.
So what is Dogwood in?
That's.
Dogwood would probably be under, it might be under Adams
It
County.
might be on the
I think it's Adams County. But I'm writing it down now. I need numbers on,
Yeah.
and areas of,
Well, I told the guy, he called and said that his front yard and his neighbor's front yard pretty much collapsed. And I think it's a sewer problem, but I told him we'll come out there and check it out when the weather gets better. So if it ain't pouring down raining, I guess we need to go out there and see what's going on.
You can log on to the Secretary of State's website, it'll tell you all the sewer people that's in Adams County. It'll give you a list of them, alphabetical order.
Okay. Even the ones that's changed over, they got that information too?
Yeah, anybody that's got a lagoon that's serving like I own, out of Village Square.
yeah.
And it shows, everything on there. It shows my license number, permits and all, it shows everything.
Well, the question I'm asking is this. These people was under David Hubert.
Right. They was under Huber.
And
Correct.
then the city of Natchez first got the sewer, I guess, and then they come along and got the water. So would it still be under David Hubert?
No.
Or would it be
Whoever
under?
bought him out, it would be under.
No, they didn't buy him out.
Oh, they're just, how that
And
work?
they getting charged from Hubert and they getting charged from the city. They getting double charged. That's been the problem in that area for years.
Somebody bought that. It's been bought, cause
Oh, Hubert done sold his?
some been sold.
Somebody from out of
I
town.
checked with
Somebody from out of town bought Huber out.
yeah, I finna
And some
say,
dudes, so my mom lived out there, like I said, she got two bills too.
it is bought out because when, we had the guy came down, from the, wasn't Attorney General, the state commissioner, the Public Service Commission, I had that number, cause those folks wore me out about that, and I had the number, and I gave seeing the guy that, delivered the little Debbie case, he was one that had on the little committee that was trying to fight that, and I said, man, I got a number for you, and he said, man, somebody else and took over, and our bills went down $30 or $40 a month, so they went down $30 or $40 a month, yes, so somebody have bought that.
Okay.
The lady,
I'll tell you something else, DEQ probably answered that question.
yeah, the lady that was the secretary for Huber, she's still the secretary, works out of that office. Matter of fact, last week I seen her put mail in the mailbox. I'll run by there and ask her, who bought them out.
Yeah, somebody bought them out.
All right, thank you.
Supervisor Gray, two things. Robbie and I went down, was it South View? Is that the name of it?
Correct.
There was a little bit of progress, but not near enough, and we pretty much told them, we're working up, we told them the process that we're working up, a cost and how much it's gonna cost to clean it up to submit to the state. And, it's not like we're holding off. Robbie's gotta work up the cost anyway.
Gotta see if you're gonna clean it.
Yeah, they're like, but we're not stopping on that, we're just letting you know, and then also for cemetery.
Hold on right there, Scott, cause I gotta do one thing at a time. Now, I understand what you're saying. You went out there and talked to them. Do you think that they can clean up what I saw?
I think they
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I think they could and should, but we're not waiting on them to do it. We just had told them, this is what's happening to you. We still gotta work up a cost to submit to the state. So it's not like we're delaying anything.
So we just talking about
that
the little roundabout. We're not talking about all that stuff.
The bumpers and all by the trees and all.
Yeah.
He told me he had those sold. He was waiting on somebody to come pick those up, but I asked, can he clean it up? Yeah, because he put it there. So I know he's capable of doing it, because he's capable of putting it, he ought to be capable of cleaning it. But,
Exactly.
you know, he said he had those bumpers sold, is what he said. So, but we talked to him, he said he would clean it up. We'll make a trip this week. If not cleaned up, we'll move forward with Adams County to it.
So do we have our proper paperwork in place like what the little old sign?
Managed property,
and do all that?
That is not the process, because it's owned by the state. We are gonna submit a cost to the state along with pictures with the Secretary of State, and if it's enough cost, then they'll say, well, you know, y'all clean the property, and you end up owning the property, and we'll have to sell the property after we get it. So that's the process for it, because we, under the Minnesota statute, if we go and clean off that property through the Minnesota statute, we don't recover any of our money, we just go clean it off.
Let me ask you a question. That's the part back there. What about the part where they living that look like a third world country?
That's all that needs to be cleaned.
Yes, you don't go through the process with their part right there?
They don't own any of it, the Secretary of State owns.
Well, they live too?
Because they've lost it all the taxes.
The guy knew all about that.
And they still live there?
About it. He's still living there. I guess you call him
He's
water.
got-
I don't know. But
They've got like 4 or 5 people living out there.
Campers.
Well, we need to
It's
get with
something
the
else.
Secretary of the State before 3 on my side come down here and try to figure out what's going on.
That's
man.
exactly what, well, not on the other side, but we are talking with the Secretary of State. They told us to submit a cost, a claim. That's what we're gonna do. I was just letting you know, Ricky, that we did go out there and talk to him. I know Ricky'd already talked to him, I talked to him, tell him what's happening, you know, and trying to encourage them to get it all cleaned up. We didn't just talk about the bumpers and the stuff on the street and this over here. We talked about all that nonsense in front of their house, everything.
And he cleaned the road up where the school bus turn around, things like that. 'Cause
I
that was the first
appreciate
thing.
y'all
He had
going
a
out there.
rack with all that. I said, you got to get all
It's
that.
not delaying
County
anything.
secretary.
I'm just letting you know.
I appreciate y'all going out there, but man, I ain't never seen nothing like that in my life
Yeah.
in Adams County, what I saw on this road.
Yeah, it's
So,
something else. It's like a different world.
Thank
But, also Cemetery Road, EWP, I'd asked Robbie, the EWPs have already been marked off as to where they're gonna be. Right, Grant? Right, Grant?
Yes.
Robbie and I are gonna go out and meet with the owner on Cemetery Road to go through that with him. If you wanna go, Supervisor Gray certainly can. If not, you know.
I trust y'all.
Okay. I don't think you need to go.
Yeah,
I would have told you.
I trust y'all.
But you certainly can. I like giving you the invitation. to go out there. That's it.
Good morning, board. Morning. Just some updates. The striping on this project, Pine Ridge, Foster Mound, the steam plant, that bid opening for their project will be the next board meeting, which would be March the 21st. The same for the EWP Group 4. That bid opening will also take place that day. The bid opening for the EWP Group 4 will be at 9, and then the bid opening for the striping will be at 10 on those days. As far as 26 Coyote, Union Heights, like Mr. Dollar said earlier, had a pre-construction meeting on Tuesday, met with the contractor, went over the project. We sent them a notice to proceed to begin today. Based on my construction managers, they are out mobilizing equipment, which they plan to do today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Start installing that silk fence by the end of the week. And they submitted a schedule this morning. They anticipate being completed with their project on April the 27th of 2022, which will be this next month. Just based on their schedule, which is a few days ahead of what the projected schedule was. As far as Burke Road is concerned, we received the approved hydraulics from state aid. So we have begun designing the bridge at Burke Road. We went out and did our site assessment on last week, and we got our spring arrangement together. So we have begun the design of that bridge over at Burke Road.
What do you think the time frame is on that?
For the design, right now we're doing the design, but we still are waiting on MDOT to submit a revised MOA over state aid. So since we're waiting on that, we decided to go ahead and start the design of the bridge. So it may take about 4 weeks to do the bridge design and submit to state aid for their first submittal. And but we can't submit it until they have the revised MOA between state aid and DOT. Yeah, but we just like to go ahead and get started, so as soon as we get approval, we can just submit.
Thank you.
I was asked to go out to Robbins Lake to look at the impact of, I guess, some pumping that the county had did as it relates to some erosion that has occurred at 9 Deer Lake Road. And so we visited the site on February the 22nd. We also looked at the area where the pumping occurred, and then we also went to where the area where the erosion had occurred. And based on our finding, the two locations, if I do a straight line measurement, you're looking at about 0.3 miles away from where the county did the pumping. That doesn't include any other change of direction that the stream did, so it's actually longer than 0.3 miles. And at the location of the erosion, what we found was there was some sort of creek crossing constructed out of what appears to be ridge decking, put across the creek. It's not any kind of standard or anything of that nature. And what we saw, what appears to happen is that that structure restricted the normal flow of that creek. Therefore, debris and sediment have built up on one side of that bridge. And when water is stopped, it had to find a way to get out. And based on what we saw, that it took the path of resistance, which was on the north side of this structure, and just eroded out around it. And so I don't think anything that the pumping caused that erosion at that site, because there's no sign of erosion before that structure, and there's no sign of erosion after that structure, only at that structure. And my assumption is that that bridge structure somehow restricted any kind of flow from the normal flow of that creek and caused everything to back up and it eroded around that bridge. And that's pretty much my assessment of that site. I was asked to see if the county did anything to cause it. I don't think the county did anything to cause it. It was too far away from the inlet area where the pumping occurred. Any questions that relate to that?
Did y'all relay that to the guy
in the back, right here.
Y'all done this morning. Now, in due respect to him, they weren't even elected to it. So he wasn't here when that water was pumped out of there. And Mr. Lewis, I want to ask you, where was you at that day? You didn't come in. So that's your district.
Where was I when?
Where was you at when they were pumping that water out the lake?
I was there.
So why you didn't come down and see what I was talking about when I came that day?
I didn't see you.
You didn't see me?
No, sir.
Well, I did talk to a couple of y'all. I remember talking to you, but I talked to a couple of y'all.
me and Robert.
Uh-huh. At the time that it happened. And somebody's supposed to come down there and look at the same day. And didn't come. And I was crossing that bridge, able to drive across that bridge. But when they pumped that water out and that water came down, that's what made me come around there to see what was going on. Because I heard the water running from my house. So he can't say that they didn't cause it because he wasn't there. If they know the bridge built up in there for it to all of a sudden jam up where it could be blown out. It was done from that water running down through there.
So that was the first time you heard water run through there?
Right.
You never heard water run through there?
Water run through there before, but my bridge was up high enough that water run up under the bridge. But when all this water came, when the dam was busting and they were pumping the water, that shot a whole lot of water down there.
I was asked to provide my opinion, and that was my opinion as to what I saw on site. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
So, what do we do from here?
I mean, according to our engineer, he said that we didn't cause that problem. I mean, am I wrong?
So who caused it then? When y'all got tractors, they're pumping water out of there.
Excuse me, go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said, when you all got tractors, they're pumping water out of there.
Well, our engineer said that we didn't cause it, you know.
And I explained, I told y'all, Scott, that those 3 siphons would probably flow more water than the pumps would. And we run 3 siphons a good bit down there. That's the 3 that go through the pipe when the water's getting high. That's how we keep the level down. So we run those, and it's as much water or more coming through those 3 siphons as it is those 2 pumps that we had run. Those pumps weren't going back in the tractor, got the soft line goes across, and we run them 2 times since it's occurred.
Well, maybe
We've
you
had them down there.
are.
We've had them down there 2 more times that we didn't run because the water didn't get high when we were expecting flood. We put them in, you know, in the location. Now, the night that it breached and run over, we did not run the pumps that night. We did not. All that run over was running over. We didn't have them at that night. All that was run over, and that was way more water than we could pump or siphon that night. And you know, it's your, I'm just saying, you talking about we pump. We did pump that night. It was running over, and we couldn't do anything but stand there and watch it.
Yeah, but you came there and you came there and you pumped that morning. You maybe shouldn't have pumped at all, pumping water on my plate, then I wouldn't have to be here with you all. But you were there with tractors and pumps, so
that's where it's been flowing for years, and you told me that your grandfather owned that whole 800 acres. They sold it, Mr. Bean developed it, and when Mr. Bean developed it and built that levee across there, that water's still been running over all these years, and that's been, you can tell me, I don't know how many years that's been.
That's why the bridge was put there, because the water was running and the water was up high. But by that happening, and then you all pumping water at the same time, forced more water to come down through there.
Not those 2 pumps, they're not forced that much water to do that, and that's what the engineer said. I'm telling you out of my own mouth as road manager, the 3 pipes put more water than the 2 pumps.
Well, what you should
And we
have,
run them all the time.
you shouldn't have pumped the water,
When
you shouldn't
the
have
levee
used
gets high, we do run, you know, start the siphon, and that's the design it's been for years. You know, I wasn't here, I can go back and say what I heard about Mr. Bean when it gets high enough that he would bust a levee and let it all drain down and then rebuild it back, you know, over time. I don't know all that, that's just stories I hear. I was not here at that time, but I can tell you what we've done since I've been here.
Mm-hmm.
And I can tell you how many times we run those pumps since I've been here. You know, I can't tell you how many times we siphoned, but I can tell you how many times we run those pumps.
Well, you ran them that day.
So.
Let me understand. Let me try to get a clear understanding. The engineer. Well, first let me back this thing up. I think Mr. President and y'all 3 had just got elected. I don't know if y'all had took office yet. Y'all was elected, but hadn't been sworn in when this happened. So I went down there and I led him to Robert because he said he had a problem down there. Now, this is what I'm hearing from the engineer. What you saying is the pumping that the road department did, to your best knowledge, didn't cause what he's talking about.
Correct.
Okay, he go to the other scenario. I don't know, I wasn't there. I know it's a problem. But when the whole thing flooded, and everybody saying that the whole highway flooded, could that come? Cause say the whole highway, didn't somebody else say
The highway didn't flood at that
Not
time.
that
No, that was
When
like an
before our time, when it blowed out, it did flood the whole highway.
It flooded the whole
That
highway.
was before our time, before my time.
So-
Where Andrew was.
So the last time it flooded, all that water that went over there, where the water went?
Down through that same path, down through his property, across 61, out, headed to home to the river.
Cross 60.
So there's a possibility that it could have happened then. That's all I'm asking.
But as the engineer stated,
I know the
the ridge
engineer said,
piles caused the silting, the blocking of what held the debris. If it hadn't have been there, it would have been an open run path that it would have went on through and wouldn't have caused that washing. What caused that washing was when they were put there and all that water hit it, it had to find somewhere to go. He's got the picture of it, and I know you do too, but cut around the end of it and went out. Least resistant. It went to the easiest spot it could go to get out of there.
I'm just trying to say, what the engineer, I thought I heard the engineer say that the pumps that we put in didn't cause the erosion that he have on his property. What I'm saying is, when the water jumped over and blew it all out, it was more water going then
You're correct. That it was about.
than when you was pumping. That's what you were saying.
Correct, that is.
So is it a possibility that caused the erosion?
Well, I can't say, cause when I got there this morning, all I seen was tractors with pumping water over there. He wasn't there last night, he assumed. I can't assume what happened last night. I can only see what I seen that
Well, I
morning.
was there that night. It was, that day.
Yeah, they almost spent the night over there.
Well, it did on that night.
And I was able to drive across that bridge before all that happened. Cause I ain't saying that that bridge was there and then all of a sudden it gets stopped up when we taking, log trucks back there in the back cutting timber.
Man, let me say this and I'm gonna be done with this. For the sake, something ain't cleaned out, this happened. I got animal bottom. And you know this, and you know this, and don't nobody else know this about animal bottom. I don't care what kind of leaves you got in there. When that water start coming, it take the whole bank out. And I ain't talking about no leaves, it take the whole bank, it take everything out. The pressure of water when it's coming full speed, I don't know what can stop it. That's all I'm saying, because I done witnessed in the animal bottom, I can't witness nowhere else. And debris pile up is not, it don't make sense with the debris pile up, because when water coming, you could put a brick wall down there and it's gonna wash the whole brick wall out, because that what happened in animal bottom. With the amount of water had jumped or whatever, the dam. Only thing the engineer is saying is what the county did, he don't think that caused what Mr. Baptiste is talking about. But before that, with all that water jumped, then there was a possibility that caused it. That's all I'm saying. Now, do it help his situation? I don't think so. But I just need to get a clear understanding from the engineer and him, and that's all I'm saying. Where we go from here, I do not know.
Mr. Baptiste, how many times have you cleaned out from underneath that bridge?
The bridge was up high enough.
I know, but how many times have you ever cleaned
It
out?
wasn't sitting in the creek.
I know.
It was high enough when you drive across it and the water would run up under it.
How much room was there?
It's probably, that thing probably about 20 foot long.
How much room under the bridge?
Probably about 3 foot.
You never cleaned it out from the time you put it in?
Because when they went running, the water would run up under there.
Because it
It
just
never
looks like,
run across the top like it did this time. That's why when I put it there, I put them 3 big it's 2 up on the bottom, and then 3 stacked up on top of it. At least 3 feet high where you can drive across over there. And any time that the water would come down to there, it would run up under there. But this last time, it just ran it out, you know.
see, this is the same problem we had at Burke Road and what have you. Creeks fill in underneath the bridge. We have to either scoop them out, clean them out. We take backhoes down and stuff like that. We had the same thing on the railroad tracks down there. The port charges, $32,000 because they told if they didn't get debris off the trestle, the next big rain was gonna take the train trestle out. So we had to pay $32,000. I hope next time we're gonna do that ourselves, because I think that was an extraordinary amount of money. But at any rate, they're always filling in and they have to be scooped out. And you're saying you never had to do that?
No, I ain't never had to do that. Because I mean, if I had to, I got a tractor of my own. I could go down there and clean them around. Matter of fact, I got a tractor on my back path and I got a tractor on my front. So if I had that problem, I could have did that myself if I'd have seen it.
When those size types of rain come, what did we get, 8, 9 inches in like 10 hours? So it was.
And as he's speaking, what he did on each side, on each approach, he laid concrete pile down, and then he laid 3 of them across it. to make him a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And he, like I said, it silted in, and it cut around, and his piles are still there that it's sitting on. Like I said, it just silted in, and once it got up, it cut around the end of it. But like I said, the whole upstream, if you look at it, pretty much is running on that same grade on the up around till it makes that bend of same silted in, and then once it comes off the bridge on this side, it drops down to where his concrete pile on the each approach is, it's that high. So whatever this side is how high this side was originally when he built it. And like he said, he said 3 foot, it looks probably a couple of feet high is what it looks like on the off end, you know.
It just appears it just silted in
It's,
over
that's
time.
correct, that's what
The water has nowhere to
silted
go.
in, it's full,
Yeah,
it's,
water.
and it hits it, it cuts around it, is what's going on.
Damn, but a substantial amount of water came off that day down, but yesterday the road fell in, he talking about the,
Same night.
it's the second,
Where
when
the
we were
second,
down there,
whatever.
we had just got elected, as a matter of fact, we had just left the swearing in over there in the sky bus, I remember what he talking about now. But that's the night that the road fell off and all, the whole damn bus.
Correct.
So it probably was a substantial amount of water, I think, we got 8 or 10 inches of rain in less than 24 hours. And that,
Same night the deck board floated up on Burt Road Bridge, and
Yeah.
same night.
substantial amount of water.
Well, for one thing, if the water was running, you should have just let it run.
We did, that's all
You
we
know,
could
but
do.
if you're gonna add the pumps to the water, that's putting more water out there.
That was 24
What it
hours
did, it
later.
run down till it got where it wasn't going over anymore, and we run the pumps to take the pressure off the levee, is what we run the pump for. Cause it was still high and it was, had cut out half of that road, so we were trying to get pressure off that levee, which was state, Brad, you know, everybody's idea of trying to get the pressure off that levee, to get the water level down, you know, to do.
Emergency.
At this point, I don't see what we can do. I mean, the engineer saying that what the county did, that they not at fault. So at this point, I don't see nothing else we can do. We got to go by the people that we pay to give us whatever they need to give us, and the road manager, the engineer, and all of, basically the engineering saying that what the road manager did for us pumping the rest of the water out to fix the road wasn't the cause of what you talking about. Pretty much, right? So, I don't see nothing else we can do.
Well, I just gotta do what I gotta do too, because you shouldn't have pumped the water, period. If you wouldn't put the pumps in, let the water just run, then the labor responsible, but you put the pumps in, you pump the water, so you're responsible. You will be hearing from me.
Any more questions for me?
No, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse me. You want to talk a little bit about the rates, correct?
Yes, ma'am. I get the note right here. We had a meeting with, I guess, the surrounding county that relates to submitting for the raise grant, for this year. And so I just need, if you all want me to submit for Morgantown Road again for this year, as part of the 2022 raise grant, I just need authorization to begin. They have a tight deadline. It's actually submittal is due in April this year. And I think they're trying to have some paperwork done, to submit for review by next week. So I will have to.
My only question is if we do submit it, when will we know? Next year?
Next year, we ain't gonna.
Morgantown Road gonna be finished by then. We ain't finna sit here and wait till next year to try to alleviate something like that. We cannot, we can do a raise grant, but we ain't gonna keep kicking Morgantown down the road every time another grant come up and the situation getting worse. Then the cost to do Morgantown Road is going up and up. We don't even know what the final cost is right now. We just going by, how many years ago that been?
20, close to 2016 when Darryl was here.
No. When we did all our information with the other engineering firm, they gave us a cost, how much it cost to fix it.
Oh, yeah, that
About
was.
4 years ago.
18.
Okay, all that's gone up now.
Everything gone up.
Yeah.
It went from 1 point.
So if we can continue, it's just like,
this time.
it's just like the EWP project, if we can continue to put it off, it's gonna continue to get worse. Now, I'm not saying don't apply for it, but we need to find something else try to spend that money on.
Well, yeah, let's find a project that we can apply for the raise grant.
But
You
not
know,
more.
he's trying to find money for us and all that.
And he doesn't have a lot of time, so we gotta find something.
And then also, you know, with that project already being submitted through the lobbyists and stuff like that, would that have any effect on, but Morgantown cannot be kicked down the road in and on, you know what I'm saying? You ain't gonna be another year out, and just like you said, you went from $1 million to 3 million, now you're gonna go from a 3 to 6, and now end up you don't have nothing done, so. And it definitely is an area, I think everybody at the table totally agrees that something needs to be done with Morgantown. So,
Mr. Ford, what would qualify for that raise grant?
Well, I mean, you can do any project. They really don't want bridges because bridges, they have a different program for bridges. So they really just want roadway projects would be better suited for it. You can submit bridges if you want to, but the likelihood of getting that approved would not be good.
So strictly roads and bridges?
let me ask you a question,
Roads.
Road.
But I think they have a program already, a federal program for bridges.
Let me ask you a question. I know two of the roads is probably one of the worst in the county. I come to Emerald Mountain Road, I don't know what else, and then I think Jefferson and Adams share Tay Road, and Tay Road is horrible towards Jefferson County side, and it's still bad on Adams County side, so that's two counties working together on that.
Do you have a post on those roads?
And would it help?
Yeah, he had a
Would it help
yeah.
just like going to, say, Emerald Mound, or would it help like going to, refuge, wildlife refuge,
No,
federal refuge, is that?
Based on meeting roads that are probably the best if they were county. If I can access another county from this road.
Yeah, but Jefferson is definitely one of them. And well, Jefferson would actually be just about, well, both Emerald Mountain is not, actually it comes off, it's not, you're trying to go a 553 a piece for the cross Jefferson County.
Let me say this too. There's about $17 billion out there for the raise grant. And it's gonna be, if we receive that, it will be divided into five counties, yes. So,
yes.
Yeah, 5 counties.
Yeah.
So you receive about $5 million for this grant.
About 3.5.
I think they were saying they was trying to get to 5 million for each county or something like that. Or something. So I think if because one county may pull out, so it'd be $5 million for each county. So if we can just do roads, like you had, those roads, those 2 roads, and then there was a South Palestine. You remember that's really, really in bad shape. That's over $1 million.
So, yeah, it's over $1 million.
Right, so if we could say roads and use those roads, South Palestine and Emerald Mountain would be good for that grant.
Yeah, Emerald Mountain and Tate aren't that far away too. Maybe you can kind of lump that into the same project, you know?
Yeah.
Plus Emerald Mountain's connected to the trace and all that, so. But yeah, let's get some suggestions. When's the grant due?
It's due in April.
It's due when now?
April.
In April?
Yes.
But how long would you need to make the application, you think?
I need as much time as I have, especially with these being new project. Morgantown was a little easy because I had some preliminary discussions between you guys to know what the real issue was, but these roads will be new, and I'll have them on assessment and everything.
I mean, I think, I know on those two, we probably got, I think we got cost estimates, we had to go, we got cost estimates the last year for them. So the cost estimates will be pretty much the same. 200, one was what, 214,000, and the other one was like, what, 260 or something like that?
Some add $100,000 each one of those easy.
Yeah, cause you can add, huh?
You look at time they're gonna do some base repair and builds and things like that. I mean, we just do an overlay, but they're gonna go in and do more, so you probably spend $1 million with those two. And then $1.5 million, South probably $1.5 million, that's $2.5 million. And then York right there, and I said York right there.
Yeah, what we see this.
So if you get $3.5, $4 million, it'll take care of some of those.
So why would we include Liberty Road?
Including Liberty Road with it also.
and Kingston Road are built at the exact same time, and they're terrible, they're narrow, they're.
But he needs to go ahead and make a decision. If we don't do anything, we're not gonna do any application yet. And he needs to go ahead and do it.
You got those written down?
So I have Liberty Road, Emerald Mound, Tate Road, South Palestine, and York Road.
Yes. And Tate Road is shared with Jefferson County. Just make, I heard you say that, so you can just put a note by that, that road is shared with Jefferson, that's accessing another county.
Yeah, well, see, I have to try to tie those in, so not part of my research would have to be how can I tie those, all 5 of these roads in together.
Okay.
It's gonna be one project, so I just have to make the grant.
Okay.
Make sense.
Yeah, Liberty Road runs in Franklin County, so it kind of qualifies, I think.
You get a motion?
Second.
Motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
So just know, just so you all know that they want to submit next week, the first 35 pages, with me just getting this, I will not be able to submit Adams County portion of their 35 pages. They just want to do like a preliminary review of the language. It's internal submittal. So just know I probably won't make that submittal for the new 5 road, because I haven't done any research or anything with them. But of course I will meet the actual submittal deadline for the actual grant.
Okay.
I'd like to keep you guys updated on progress. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Right.
Good morning, board.
More money.
The first thing I have is, I'd like to finalize the Main Street project, which would finalize the South EWP projects, and this would, like to ask to release the retainage on that, project, the amount of $18,612.32. So I'd submit a, pay request to the county on that.
You heard the request.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion?
Did you get with Angie about?
Yes,
Okay.
I did. I'm working on those. I'm gonna get her to sign some today, and then we'll have the rest of these. I hope to have them submitted by Wednesday.
It didn't do us any good doing any of these grants without our reimbursement.
Yeah. So, it's just the north and south EWPs, it gets complicated when you have a lot of projects in there.
Right. Both of these got kind of hairy because we ended up having to go back to the drawing board on,
Yes.
on both of them.
Yes.
All in favor?
Anyone?
All opposed? Ayes have it.
And I guess my other question is McGee Road, did ever make a decision on that?
I did not talk to the Ross other these church people, but I would definitely gotta make try to get in contact with them so we can get it deep, whatever we're gonna do with it.
Okay.
I'll definitely go on my way to figure out what we're gonna do. I'll give some of these folks on it.
All right. And that's all I have. Is there anything anybody else have?
I got a question. I'd like to get a copy of that Morgantown Road, of all the designs and stuff, what y'all done so far for Morgantown Road, and everything. I know y'all have 3D or whatever, I don't know what all y'all have, but I'd like to get all the information y'all do have on Morgantown, what y'all done, the county.
I do have a question. What do y'all come up with Reverend Scott? Because he said he talked to Mike Green, and Mike Green said it was possible for him to do, that he was supportive, but I think he said they talked back and y'all didn't come up with any agreement.
So when I talked to Reverend Scott, he said the same thing, that talked to Mr. Green. Mr. Green said that they could change it or whatever to get him what he wants. When I talked to Mr. Green said no changes would need to be made based on what he wanted, that the actual spot of where the riprap's supposed to start is about where the box culvert was. And so Green said that he should be satisfied because that riprap's gonna be right where it is. And that's what Brant said the same thing to me as well. I've called Reverend Scott a couple of times, but his voicemail isn't set up, so I'll call him. Hopefully he'll answer the phone and I can talk to him and confirm where it is. But Brant, according to Brant, they can't change the design any more than what's already been done. So.
And I went out and I laid out some, the extents of the riprap there and let him look at it and everything, and we are within a foot or two of where everything began there. But the extents of that riprap has to tie into that the cut section of that bank. We can't put the extents in that field, or just don't think it'll last doing that. But we're within a foot or two where we began, and not too far away from where the original box was located in there. So I mean,
So what you're saying, where the old barn was for the box, that's where it's gonna start?
well, no, we're further out. I mean, you had the barn and then you had the box out there on the road side of the
So
barn.
you're not gonna tie the barn, but once you put it in, you're not gonna tie those two barns in?
No,
You coming out further than his yard?
This we will bowl out kind of bowl that rounded area out with riprap, and all of that will just spill over into the riprap, the grouted riprap, and it'll go down in a.
Will that interfere from the corner of his house with that barn where that 8-10
No, we
foot
will,
section
right there
is?
where it is washed in the barn there, they will repair that, and then they'll do some
Cut in
grading
that.
to make sure that the grading brings the water around to the receiving of the riprap, the grouted riprap ditch.
Okay, 'cause I carried Mr. Slover out there last week and we looked and I was trying to tell him from what it looked, what it was originally
The second,
to what it is now.
yes, the other place that it, had broke the berm or it eroded out the berm there, we are gonna replace that.
But that, you're not gonna move back toward
We're
the
not
house,
gonna
you
move
still
back
got
towards his house.
10 foot or 8 foot, whatever that section is, come
Yes.
around and cut the grass and all that.
Yes. So, but I did say that we did the right of way does come right beside his house over there, or
The
the
stakes is
easement
there,
there.
yeah.
If that's a maintenance easement, it's not anything, there will be some grading close to that area. But that's just to go back in and maintain what's there. It's not anything that'll endanger his house in there or be that close.
And you know, that might be, I don't know if y'all would explain that to him, but if that stake right there, that might be scaring him because, like I said, me and Slow went there and looked at it, that's what I said, no, I said, they should still have that 8 to 10 foot of access around the back of his house, and where that cut is and that berm, that y'all will fix that, but you
Yes.
see if that's just working area.
And I explained it to him that day I was out there.
Yeah, you know, I think that's what, I'm not the engineer, I'm not the contractor, I'm just a middle person. There's one of my constituents that have concern that we are, as a county, that pay a percentage, as we've been doing before I got here, to help our constituents. And him not being here, so, and I think one of the major things that we always have, I think the situation is still, no different. When everybody can't get together and communicate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I think everybody needs to be on the same page. I mean, you see one thing here, you hear one thing here. You get on the phone, the contractor tell them something, then NRS tell them something else, and that, you know, it kind of keep people there, especially when you dealing with your own home, you talking about the danger of your home, so, you know.
Oh, I understand.
If any ways we can, I can say, cause I know he's gonna ask me, and I'm not following internet because the engineer do his job, the contractor do their job, and NRCS does theirs. But I just wanna have a clear understanding that I can relate to him because it's somewhere down the line, everybody else is getting mixed up. I wish we could have actually met together so everybody could be on one accord. But I don't know, lately it seems to be a problem that everybody could get on one accord. Can't nobody, it's either somebody off, either the engineer off, he off, or the NRCS off. I don't know how we can't, I ain't getting that. But if we could, I know we gonna get it started. If before the week out, so we all possibly get together and get a clear understanding on what we got going.
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, and, Mike Green said he would come over and
Okay.
meet at any time. We just,
Okay.
get there. I just,
This project too, I mean, this is a good thing for Reverend Scott. This is a $80,000 boon for his property that he doesn't have to, if he says he doesn't want it, we can't make him take it.
That's right.
But it's a time limit.
And that's why we need to go right on.
He needs to understand that this is gonna benefit him. Whether the berm goes, or the riprap goes right up to his house, or whether it gives him a huge yard, either way, he's gotta do something to help save his yard, or help save his house. And this is a grant that's gonna accomplish that at no cost to him. So it's if the county had ill will on, then we just say we're not gonna do it at all. So he needs to understand, this is for his benefit.
But my thing is I understand that, but we need to get on one course. So, I mean, we've been kicking EWP down the road for a year. How far we out? How many extensions we have with EWP?
2 minutes.
You know what I'm saying? So, it's my simple thing that I understand the best. So let's get together, and if he's gonna approve it, let him get approved. If he's not gonna approve it, because we have to go further down the road, because we still got a deadline to meet.
Yeah, we had.
And a tight deadline, we don't have time to do this, because the last thing we want to do is lose the grant money that's out there. Because if you don't have the project finished, that's all I'm trying to do. I mean, I'm not trying to make it for him or hard on the engineers, but I know we got a deadline, and the whole thing, we do not want to lose this grant money that we got out here. And that's just where I'm at. And I think and the simplest thing, everybody say that they can meet, but it's not coming through, so let's just get together and meet, and we can come up with what we're gonna do and move on.
I called him a couple of times. You call him, maybe he'll answer your call,
I'll go out here.
I know I hear what you're saying.
I got a question. Worst case scenario, what is the deadline of getting everything you need from Reverend Scott? Cause this can't keep going on and on and on. Cause
right now, we've got it bid out. We've got the contractor waiting. He's probably about 90 days, from the bid date. We were guaranteed 60 days from the bid date that he would do the contract. And he's willing to do it right now, but if we don't hurry up and get this, a notice of award to the contractor, they could pull their bid.
What
else are we waiting on? I sent an email Thursday or Friday spelling out what we're waiting on. We've got the Cemetery Road people we've got to meet with. Deerfield Road, that person's wants to see where it's at. And so we're waiting for him to get to town. What was the other one?
The Highway 84
84
number 2, and I'm hoping that both Deerfield and Highway 82.
Reverend Scott, only Reverend Scott. That's not where we're at. So
We'll be here this week.
Okay.
yeah, but we not on, how many of these, projects got a house that could be destroyed?
This is the only one that's a house. The rest of them are roads.
That's what I know. So if we lose it, I must know you don't want to lose it house. I mean, everybody got cell phones, and if everybody can't meet in the same place, then everybody needs to get everybody on the phone at the same time and go on, get this situated and get move on, right?
If it comes to that, y'all know about it, but that's not where we're at.
Yeah.
Scott,
Yeah.
I'm confident that we can get him to sign, because he'll see the reasonableness of it. And if he doesn't, then it's his decision.
That's right. All right, and the way it goes, we can just get through with it. I appreciate it, Grant. That's all I have.
Welcome. Any more questions or?
I don't have any.
That's a lot of folders.
That won't for everybody. There's just a couple things in there. The first one is the trash report.
Sir, before you get started, man,
Yes, sir.
I'm getting some complaints about not picking up trash, especially on wilderness and all that.
I've been having my research doing a really good job all through there. But I promise you one thing, I've been riding.
I got a call
Fast as they drive.
while they complained about that on the grain road going in all the which that's just that's a pain.
Oh, I know.
Cleanest of days there tomorrow.
Signature or litter control.
I think you signed it with Supervisors.
I rolled back to the evening. And they had all this.
I was just told that you had to sign it, I don't know.
Water fountain superintendent or litter control coordinator.
Which one you want to be?
We're gonna close all fast too. Do what? You can't do that. It's almost stop.
That's for y'all's reimbursement.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Can I get a motion, you be authorized to sign this?
It's a reimbursement request for track pickup.
So, second, third, fourth.
Motion by somebody, second by somebody. Motion by Wilson, second by Gaines.
Motion by Gaines.
Motion by Gaines, second by Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
We'd like to hire a new employee, Willie Stroud II, come in as a deputy at the rate of $16.01 an hour, and I believe you should have the paperwork.
You pronounce that District 2 is the trashiest district in the county.
All right, you got two, right?
Yes, sir. I'll address the other one.
Let's do both at the same time.
Okay, the other one is a pay rate change. Unfortunately,
No. Okay, pay rate change. All right, first one's a new hire, Willie Stroud, got the signature, hourly rate $16.01, annual rate $3,380, 80 cents.
So,
Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Hutchins. Any discussion?
Under discussion, would this bring y'all up to where y'all need it? Y'all still short?
people leave.
Go ahead.
So do the second one, sir?
yes, sir.
All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
The second one is a pay rate change. Unfortunately, due to a disciplinary issue, Corporal Wembley is now a deputy, and so her hourly rate is at $16.81 an hour.
Annual rate $34,964.80.
Sure, that was this thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
I thought she was with the school now.
She is still with the school. She did not lose that position, but she did lose the rank of corporal.
Okay.
You heard the request.
So,
Second.
A motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
In your enterprise did a fleet analysis. We've met with them several times over the last couple of weeks. They have made recommendations of trying to replace 21 vehicles. We told them that was not possible in any realm whatsoever. Some of those were specialized vehicles. We got it, the list narrowed down to 10 that we will be selling. You have a list of those 10. Within the next, hopefully 30 days, those will be off of property and sold. I think Corporal Moore's waiting on a couple titles, and then we'll go ahead and sell all of those. Some of them are already out of service, some of them will be put out of service. What we're asking the board for this year is for 5 vehicles. It's Dodge trucks is what we've decided to go with. They have the V6s, not the V8s in them, especially due to gas prices. The pain at the pump is real. Ain't no doubt about it. 2 of these will be a slick top, and then 3 of them will actually be the light bar upfit. The reason why we're asking y'all now is we're looking at least 90 to 120 days before we would even be able to see the vehicles on the ground, then the upfit, and now by that time we're backing up into the next budget year, and we're trying to avoid what we had happen last year.
So, go ahead.
Because, my question is, the sheriff department, what the intent is to continue to just lease vehicles?
For enterprise.
Yeah, because if it ever get to a point where we don't own the vehicles, so when it get to a point where we, the board, if they decide we don't want to do enterprise, then we no longer have, vehicles.
I understand. That's a board decision, and whatever the board decides, y'all decide, how do we wanna go? We need, and this is the bare minimum. We have another meeting on Sunday, actually, and 5 is the bare minimum that we need, we can get by with. And we're not coming and asking for, an extraordinary amount of vehicles. And I think 5 is about what we have averaged, per year about.
Right.
And,
We've been doing 4 troopers for the longest time, but we've gotten like a van or whatever on top of it.
So,
The issue with enterprise, not saying that's a bad thing, but what makes it different than what we were used to is we would go and buy the vehicles with the state contract price, and then we would do a lease purchase through a bank with the first note not due until the following year versus enterprise, which if we go ahead and buy them, then starting this fiscal year, we'll have to start repaying them. On top of it, they want a down payment or whatever as well, which I'm not saying we shouldn't do, it's just a little bit different than what we've been doing in the past when it comes to cash flow.
So, like the county administrator said, what would they put us at, if we continue to just lease all of our vehicles and all of a sudden, we decide this lease purchase ain't working? We gonna go out and purchase 20 vehicles? Cause we ain't gonna have none.
The system that we're on now is at the end of the lease, we end up owning the vehicles, so it's very similar.
So we gonna own them?
Yeah.
At the end of the lease, we will own them. So,
okay.
But what the enterprise is trying to get you, there's a sweet spot of when you sell vehicles. Yeah, because at the end of the day, you have a purchase price of, $1,600 or $3, or, sometimes they pay you at the end of the lease. It just depends on it. But what they're trying to get you on is a sweet spot of you buy a car and then a year or 2 later, you put that car out and sell it and get new ones, and actually it ends up paying for itself. That's what they want the county to eventually get.
but we, and we know that the size county that we have, they recommend between 80 and 95,000 or the expense of each vehicle. That's not practical for us. I mean, we're talking 130 to usually 150 before we replace a vehicle.
Miles.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's, or what, 9, 10 years old. I mean, we got vehicles that are, 12 years old that we still have put 300 miles a day on. It just, that's where we are.
And that's what they're trying to present, is that that method of doing it is not the way to do it. You end up keeping them beyond their value, and so it's more economically in our benefit to sell them while they're worth something and get something new. And if you're doing that perpetually, then you're not having broken down vehicles.
And you have a fixed cost, you don't have
Yes,
to
sir.
maintenance.
And maintenance last year, and I know she'd be able to get the exact number, we were way up in the hundreds, 150 maybe, 120,000 in maintenance costs. So the maintenance cost goes down, but you're buying vehicles more often. So, and, she'd be able to tell you the balance there. I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Shane, you have an idea how much you're gonna get for these vehicles you're gonna sell?
Very, very little. If it's scrap.
But that'll go to the general fund?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
But what they're thinking is, if you buy a car, they get a discounted price by being enterprise from Ford or Dodge or Chevy, right? And then they sell it, if they sell it within the next year, it's like buying a demo. And enterprise realizes that needs to be actually kind of lucrative for them to do. Buy a car, rent it for a year, and then sell it the next year. And that's what they're trying, that's why they're expanding to government programs, because we always need cars, and they're trying to.
Well, that process works real well when you don't extend how far you're gonna be going in these vehicles. Now, if you're gonna go further than you're supposed to be going in these vehicles, then you're gonna get a lot of miles on these vehicles. In 1 year, you might have 70,000 miles on the vehicle.
Sure, but that's why they have a monitoring company, and they come in and they say you're over your allotted time, mileage and all that, and they try to keep it within the.
Yeah, they're keeping up with every bit of
Every single mile they're doing, they're looking at that and saying, oh, I rose your mileage, and they come back and say, I don't need to be over that, because they want to keep you within that range. So. No, I'm not saying go ahead and do it in any stretch, nor am I even saying to do it. I'm just saying that's what enterprise presents. The disadvantage, of course, is that we got to start paying back on enterprise immediately. It's not like a bank where we borrow money and our first note is due the next year, which is great because if it wasn't within our fiscal year budget, if they needed 2 transport vehicles that we didn't know about, and we only budgeted 4 cars, we can still program that into the next budget cycle. That's not the case anymore with enterprise.
We just, whatever the board decides, we like to just start now talking about it, and so we don't end up like we did last year, having to pay more than state bid price and just finding literally whatever was available and force around the state.
Yeah. You still not get it within a reasonable time.
Correct. And that's, we're 90 to 120 days out of anything being bid.
Yeah, well, I guess.
Can I ask a question? Like our state bid price for these 4x4s, it's like each one of these vehicles are $34,500. Then you're paying another $9,000 to outfit it.
That's correct.
So that's $43,000.
What's the slick top? Is that?
Those 2 are going
That's outfit.
That's only 2 of them.
Right, and then the other $9,000.
So it's either 9 or 8.
Right.
Sorry, I'm a little slow.
The slick tops are going down to CID. Major Smith's driving a 14-year-old vehicle, and then Lieutenant D. Lane's, his has 145,000, so we're replacing those 2. The other 3 are going on patrol.
I mean, that's another issue with enterprise. We couldn't wrap that into the.
We got to pay it
debt
separate
service.
for the outfits. Okay.
So yeah, that'll be what? You
Yeah,
said
this will be amended.
45 plus another 60 something thousand.
Well, see, they got a capital price reduction of $5,000 that they knock off there, so you said, state bid is 34,000 or something. And then they dropped it down to 27 after that $5,000 capital line.
So you throw 8 or 9 on top of that. 9.
So it's almost the same.
36.
What, we gonna take this under the back or what?
Is there anything additional y'all need us to get for y'all, or any other options or anything like that before the next board meeting?
Every year we buy cars for the sheriffs, so it's a matter of, I mean, unless y'all correct me if I'm wrong, you may not want to buy vehicles, it is what it is. But if it's just a matter of figuring out what methodology y'all want to do to acquire.
I think it's a method of figuring out what we need to do, because, I mean, that don't even sound right, not wanting to buy a sheriff car. and you're expecting for the kids. You know what I mean?
When Angela first got here, they weren't, the sheriff had to come beg for cars. And they went through a couple of years without buying cars. So we've gotten to a program where we're buying every year.
So, I mean, if we can afford it, and you let the administrator look over it, see what's feasible. I mean, no, I'm saying, you got, you know what I'm saying, I guess I might look at things. If you driving 12 or 14-year-old vehicles, and I think last year I asked for like 7 or something like that, and he brought it to us early, and I think, what by me taking on the advisement, we can still look at what's our best option on it. And I think I don't know if anybody at the table agree or think that we shouldn't buy a car. I don't think that we don't think that we shouldn't buy a car. We're just looking at the best option to make it more feasible for us as the county. And as Scott was talking about how we bought them last year, that we can buy them on state contract and budget them in the next year. So I'm gonna let the administrator say what she needs to say about it.
I know Grandma Lynette, she's in the process now of trying to get us a grant for 5 vehicles.
She is, well, we've sent her that paperwork, The only issue that we have, the only issue we have with that is if we don't get the grant, and then now we're stuck in July trying to find vehicles, still 90, 120 days out, and we run into what we ran into last year.
And that would stop her from making that application, you know.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe majority of the reason we went with Enterprise last time was because they were the only ones who could give us a car at that time.
That's correct.
That's what they said, and they.
So it's just like the transport van, they contacted over 100 dealerships looking for a transport van. There is none to be found, so they're working on the other options for us. But that's all still in the process as well.
But that now, vehicles are available now,
They.
coming in.
Yes, ma'am. As they told us, the Clerk is the state representative. That's who we were on the Zoom call with Friday. And he told us it's a 90 to 120 days out from the time we give them the go-ahead, if that's what we end up going with, is Dodge trucks. But they are placing orders, taking orders, and scheduling build times.
But you want trucks?
Yes, sir.
The 4x4 trucks, is that what
Yes,
y'all
sir.
doing?
And those are actually cheaper than the Explorers.
Yeah.
We had good success with them. The deputies liked them with the room and then living out in a county environment. And they have the V6s now rather than the ones we have right now have the V8s.
Y'all like the V6s better?
It's 300 horses. I mean, how many, how much horsepower do you really need? 300 is plenty.
All right, need a motion.
We'll pick up about it.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It's okay.
No, go ahead.
I was just gonna ask a question about the maintenance, because I looked at an invoice from from Enterprise, and it has people assigned to vehicles, and then it's like I saw, like some deputies were assigned to more than one vehicle.
No.
And I saw some vehicles who wasn't assigned to anybody. I mean, I guess I'm just wondering what's that?
I can answer that for you. So some of them, when the new vehicles came in, we pushed the vehicles down. So other people got other vehicles. They hadn't been switched over in the system when that billing started. Robbie is now went in where all the deputies are assigned a specific vehicle. For like some of the vehicles we have down at SOG, like the armored truck, the raid van, the van that juvenile service gave us, those are pool vehicles, or they'll say SRT 3, 4, whatever. And then there is 2 Explorers that are backup units that say pool on it, so that whenever vehicles have maintenance go down, that's what the department uses as pool vehicles. But other than that, the deputies should just be assigned one vehicle. Now, like the jail will have 2. They'll have a transport van and the expedition. But as far as individuals, it should just be one vehicle per person. And if you see on the, because I know you have access to the website, if you see on the My Fleet where there is, Robbie said he got everything straight now.
Okay.
So it should be straight.
I'm missing.
You got it straight right? I'm good.
All right, so we're gonna take this under advisement.
Okay. Is there anything y'all need from us additional?
Angie will probably call you and ask you.
Not right now.
Okay. If there is,
Francis.
happy to get it for you.
You Francis to pull the state
Right.
contract, see what you got.
Yeah.
You know if these are on state contract?
My understanding is that's state contract price. That's my understanding. That's because that was the difference in the MSRP and the amount we're buying and he's the state contract dealer for Dodge, Clerk.
It's like our state contract price includes fitness. But on here, we got to pay.
No, state contract is the price for the vehicle only, because every department upfits their vehicles differently with different equipment and different lighting packages.
But they'll include, the banks will include the bids on the note where Enterprise.
Yeah, they reckon all.
Pay it right up. We gotta pay for it either way though.
Yes, sir. This quote is through Enterprise. It's just one payment to Enterprise, not separate like we did last year where it was one to Southern Connections and one to Enterprise. This is everything through Enterprise.
This right here?
Yes, ma'am.
So they've wrapped in the financing for the.
Yes,
For the
yes,
fitness?
yes, ma'am.
That's better.
That's the total price out the door, ready to hit the road.
Okay. Public comment. You done?
Yes, sir. Any questions or anything, Rose?
Mr. Neighbor, you got anything? No. Public comments? Come to the table. Yes, sir.
Did y'all get, I'm on the transportation committee, did y'all get that information I sent? I sent an email. They really saying that in that infrastructure bill, they have, $6 million for a new safe street and road for all programs to be funded, reduce crashes in fatalities. $4 billion for highway safety improvement program, $4 billion for improving data collected vehicle service program and truck program. Scott, Angie, did you get it too? I sent an email out. I think it's something we need to look over, and I hope this is something that the president gonna, if we apply for it, gonna send it directly to the counties, and we don't have to have a middle person like sending it to the states, and then the state put certain stipulations on it and all this old kind of stuff, and we never get it. I hope with this money here, it comes directly to the county. Do anybody have an update on what's going on with our lobbyists with Morgantown Road? I need an update.
There was an email sent Friday, and I've not looked at it, but I'll pull it up.
Who was they sending emails to?
Should have been sent to everybody. Let's see.
Okay.
Well, why are you looking for the emails?
Because I actually asked him, hey, where are we at on, I nag him all the time, where are we at on?
Get that email.
Scott, have you looked over the, y'all did get the House America proclamation, right? I sent that to y'all. That's something dealing with HUD, and they got a sample proclamation that they want recommending if you want to be involved. What I showed you at that meeting over there.
Right.
Let's see if I put it up. I think it's something that we need to look into, signing that proclamation and getting on board with HUD, because we do have a lot of abandoned and old houses in the community, and it's dealing with the homeless too. And I know we've been talking about the homeless people for a long time. I think his money is right here, House America. And I think it's something we need to look into.
I pulled it up before the meeting, so I'll try to give you a report back.
Yeah, I'm just bringing it up now, and that's the Honorable Marshall Fudge, Secretary of Department of Housing and Urban Development. Probably need to print a copy out for all of us. This stuff's so little on there, I can't hardly read. Maybe I need to get him to make it big. I can't see this stuff. And last, one more thing. Okay, the obituaries, my sympathy goes out to the Noble, the Jones, the Jefferson, the Green, the Cooks, the Mango, the Miller, Butler, and Williams, Hoover, Logan, and the Lyles family. Jerry Lyles lost his mom. He on 1 hour, St. Catherine Creek, or whatever. And they had a tragedy over there in Southwest Mississippi where the vice president, I guess, was found dead in his home. They call it a home invasion over there in Southwest Mississippi. Man, I ain't never heard nothing like that before. But anyway, sympathy goes out to the, Southwest Community College down over there in Southwest Mississippi. And, do we need to get approved to travel tomorrow to, what is that, Brookhaven? With Southwest Planning, they pay for travel, so, if you go and I go, I don't know if you ride with me, I ride with you. Angela, you was going her vehicle, so I wanna make sure if we carrying a county vehicle, we cover. And then, minutes reflect that we driving to Brookhaven.
You heard the request, Supervisor Gray, got a motion by Supervisor Hutchins, second by Supervisor Gaines, any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Southwest Plan.
Southwest Planning, we on the board.
Southwest Mississippi Development Planning.
And that's pretty much, I ain't got that much today, I do, want us to get together and, decide, how we gonna, after April the 1st, so we still have time, what we gonna do with it, with all this money we got. I know we gonna deal with Morgantown Road. Scott, another thing, I saw you send out an email about the, bond. We need to have a little more discussion on, how we gonna deal with that bond. Make sure that, you already, I read something where you say how much gonna be left over. My thing is this, we need to, make sure we take care of all our parks first. And, however we wanna deal with the rest of it, that's fine, but, the parks need to go in like Liberty Park and Broadmoor Park and the parks that need to be upgraded, that haven't been upgraded since I've been here, need to go toward the bond issue, not toward how much, need to go toward the bond issue, let's put it like that. Do you understand what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, 'cause I'm gonna finish, I was gonna bring it to me.
Now, I ain't gonna say it in the press, what I'm saying is, we doing a bond issue to upgrade our parks, right? Okay, that's Liberty Park, that's the girls softball field, that's Broadmoor, that's, your park already upgraded, Providence already
Equipment.
oh, she got equipment at her park, Providence probably need equipment, I don't know if they need equipment or not, in Pine Mountain or wherever.
Arena.
And the most important thing is that arena. I'm not a horseman. I wish I would, but I like to do this dance, how they be doing it. I like that, but when I go places, you can't get in them. So if we had the right facility, we could draw all kind of crowds out there. And that's what a lot of young kids are into now, is riding horses and all that. So we need to give them they don't need to go to Lafayette or need to go to Brookhaven and then come back and we got this rundown facility over there. We need to upgrade our facility, especially if it's gonna be out in the county. We need to upgrade it where we can be proud of. That concludes my report.
I touched it, because I was gonna touch the same thing.
You never did give me an update on the lobbyists with whatever they sent you, because I don't get that information.
Supervisor Hutchins.
Hold 1 second, Mr. President. We need to make a decision, man, because I'm not gonna keep kicking Morgantown Road down and waiting on somebody to say they're gonna get some money from Morgantown, and we in July or August still saying the same thing. I'm not willing to do that, because we told them people we gonna fix Morgantown Road, we got money, we need to fix Morgantown Road. That concludes my report.
Okay, Ms. Hutchins is having trouble speaking, she's got laryngitis. She wants to know about 2 Minutes properties on Greenfield Road, 105 and 217, what the status is.
Well, we adjudicated them, have you all?
They cleaned them.
One of them we talked to is already cleaned up.
I got them,
correct?
both of them did, we got the pictures, we got them, I give them that, both of them cleaned them up. If I'm not mistaken, they cleaned them. I don't have a picture with me, but, Tommy took pictures of them.
That
We do have
included
an
Ms.
issue.
Hutchins' report.
Now that you mentioned that, we do have an issue right there at the corner, at the stop sign, that further right there. Behind that, what we done at EWP, but I'll give it to you after the meeting.
Okay,
Supervisor Williams.
I wanna bring up the voting machines we were asked about, at the last meeting. Seems like that's kind of time sensitive to get those here and online and people trained on these machines. The county has $95,000 to go towards them, and I think the difference is around 40 or 50,000, and we might get some of that money back. Can we order those voting machines?
You spoke with someone.
Yes, we can order them. There is, I think, what, $95,000, whatever that amount that they said. So if we do that, we can get reimbursed for that amount. The amount that they were asking for on the request was greater than that amount. And so if you want to get voting machines for everything, then that additional money will have to come out of the county to pay that difference. But there is grant funds, it is reimbursable. It's not the same money that we were talking about that the county already programs in is being used to have a money. There's a Help America Vote Act. That's additional funds. County has always programmed that into its budget. So they use that money for appropriate costs to help offset our other costs that we have. And that's something that we get into it with the election commission. They feel like that should be their own little slush fund that stays in there. And that's just not the way it works. At least that's not the way we've always read it to be done. But that's different funds than what we're talking about. There is money out there. If we spend it for voting machines, we can get reimbursed for it. The reimbursable amounts, $96,000, whatever that amount is.
$95,006.43.
There you go. And the additional money we'd have to come up with to do.
There are no more grants or avenues of.
Not that I'm aware of, there may be, but
I thought I understood Mr. Gardner say there was something.
yes, and that's what he was talking about, the HAVA money, which that money has been spent.
Okay. Well,
we could probably look at doing a lease purchase if you wanted to for that additional amount.
Well, I want to make a motion to purchase the voting machines.
Okay.
Got a motion, can I get a second? Second by Supervisor Hutchins. Any discussion?
All the discussion is, where the money gonna come from? You say that 95,000 is already spent, did I hear that?
The 95,000 we'll get reimbursed for.
Okay. We just need to worry about the difference.
The 40, what is that, Angie?
$40,000.
Oh, I'm good.
We'll have to come up with that, one way or the other.
All in favor?
They come out of the general fund, and that's for,
All opposed? Ayes have it. Motion passes unanimously.
Okay, and the only other thing I had, every time you turn on TV, you have this Russia attacking Ukraine, raping, robbing, and pillaging that country, and I just want everybody to say a prayer for the Ukrainian people. And I know that we actually have former soldiers from the United States that are headed over there, and pray for them as well, because they can't just sit back and watch this atrocity, and nobody's doing anything yet in the United States, but some of our guys certainly are, as are the British and several other countries. That concludes my report.
Supervisor Gaines.
All right, I'm just gonna start where Ricky left off, to, I think, make it a lot plain. Basically, what I think he was trying to say is what I was gonna say. We're gonna borrow money to fix them. What I would like to see us do is what he meant by discussing as a board. When we fix the ballpark, we're gonna fix all the parks. Then what's ever left, we're gonna divide instead of, yes, and if you're gonna fix one, you're gonna fix them all and then divide the money, because if that's basically what we were just trying to make sure that everybody get just trying to make sure, basically what we was trying to do is just trying to make sure any upgrades that we do, that we distribute it throughout Adams County as a whole. You got me what I'm saying? On everything. That's just basically what I think. That's how I was trying to do. But secondly, I have Scott, did you get the other letter? Wes gave us a letter that I had that I still need you to do some research on.
Okay.
With the that letter right there, I got it.
Oh,
from
no.
that, so, but just, we'll do, make sure you do the research on the letter, so I can get an answer if possible by the next meeting. Got me?
Sure.
Okay, all right. Somebody also wrote the president a letter. This is, to the Adams County Board of Supervisors are falling, down eyesore, Highway 61 North, Accident County, this lady said, mom lives on Stearns Drive, Miss Ransom, and, they're asking us to tear down a house across the road from a house across from 5 Stearns Drive. So I don't know if I guess all we can do is put it as a minister's property. 5 Stearns Drive across from 5 Stearns Drive. So I don't know exactly.
Across from 5 Stearns.
Across from 5 Stearns Drive. I'll give you the letter right here. It was the president.
Okay.
They wrote it to the board. It says an eyesore. And it's been an eyesore. The house is falling down.
Dilapidated building. Okay.
Yeah. And I also, Scott, want you to write down 102 Southmore Drive.
102 Southmore?
Yeah, Southmore. And we need to contact those folks right there. I think we brought it up last year. And you know, we rolled out there, me, you, and Robert. Robert, remember right there in Southmore, somebody had cleaned part of it up. They put a trailer behind a house right there, and the house was growing up. So I've been getting a few more calls on it from residents. So maybe we'll follow back up. They did clean part of it up, so maybe they'll clean the rest of it up on it. I think they will.
Okay.
Yeah, but on the simple side, you know, there's so many people that go right now. I have simply lost a lot of friends, and I also buried an uncle this weekend. Also, so you know, has asked for sympathy for our family anyway. My uncle-in-law, whatever that. So you know, I tell people every day that make the best of your days, because you know, in 40 days I've been right back in the funeral, to the church doing funerals again. So you know, my heart and goes out to all the bereaved families, and that concludes my report.
Okay, a lot of it got taken care of already. So what I'm asking board members to do, I've talked with Wes and talked with Warren and a little bit with Ricky, because we did a ride along, and for various items as to what we want to do for our parks. And I know I don't have to beg it out of you, Angel. I'm sure you've got things ready to go. But if you can give me the list of what you want to do for your parks. Kevin, same thing. I know one of them was fixing the sound of the school. So if y'all can send that over to me, we're compiling a list that we're going to submit to the financial advisor to help market the bonds. We're ready to go when it comes to the legal work of it. We've got it front, but we've got to go market those bonds. They just want a list of projects that we're going to do.
Sure.
However y'all want to do it, y'all need to come up with a consensus, a majority, 3, you know, whatever, a majority of a quorum of how you're going to do that money. Either you're going to do it by parks, you know, all your parks are going to go into one, or do it by districts, whatever the case may be. I'll do whatever the majority of the board says.
We're gonna do it right.
That's right.
That's exactly right. I'm going to do what I get told to do. So, but y'all need to get a list in the meantime of what you want to do with your park, so we can get it going. For the major parks, we've got an estimate for the Liberty and for the softball fields. We took, because Wes and I, you know, I'm not going to speak for Wes. I'm not a rodeo guy. We took a stab at an amount of money, but I'll shoot you the amount. Maybe you can give me better guidance for how much we should estimate for the rodeo arena. Because we went out there, and it's got some good bones to it, but there's just things. There's just little things. There's things that can really up that ante that's not, you know, super big deal on it.
You know, the only thing that we look at, and that's why it's so important to whatever we do is go here and kind of do what we gonna do as quick as possible, because everything a year ago, material almost double. So, you know, whatever we gonna do, we need to go ahead. You know, you might have, just say, 20,000, something might cost 20,000, just throwing a figure off my head. But by the time you go a year later, it done went from 20,000 to 45,000.
Sure.
So, you know, whatever we can get some concrete prices on where we at, and we really can't say concrete. Cause I mean, I see gas jumping, Lord have mercy, these jump so fast, on me the weekend, in the last week. So that's all I was saying, that we'll try to get a concrete price.
Now, I got a list from you and I'll put that in. But those you, Ricky, if you got other things for recreation that you need to submit, you know, go ahead and get them over to me.
I do have. Oh no. Don't say it. You just say we gonna stay out of trouble. Nay.
We got Golden Triangle to help us with our redistricting. There is a resolution that we have to propose for them. This is basically a cut and paste of what the law requires us to do. We need a resolution that authorizes them. These are the guidelines that they're gonna be looking at, that they're doing it. I will share it with the rest of the board so you can, it shouldn't be anything surprising, is what the law says. I'll hand it to the rest of y'all, read over it, and hopefully we can take an action on it before the end of this meeting. Again, I won't pass it down. Peggy had a loss in her family, so she couldn't be there today. Peggy from the tax assessor's office, and so I'm guessing that's why I got this request from the tax assessor's office. Larry is going to get his certification for appraiser school that's coming up in, I believe, May. So he needs permission to travel for that. Again, that's why it's coming from me, because Peggy couldn't make it.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, can I get a second? Second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
I think that is it for me. Wait, was this,
No, no, she wanted to do it, I can wait and let Peggy do it next meeting.
what was this parcel for?
I believe it is one that they had to start on the roll.
Okay, y'all might have something else from the tax assessor's office. I'm gonna pull it up from the AS 400 to see if I can, know that. If y'all wanna go on to Randy and.
Brandy, do you have anything?
I do have a couple items. I think I have the March bond renewal spread across the minutes, and those are for Alice Jones, Crystal Skipper, and Billy Neely.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
I also need permission to issue a letter to the Administrative Office of Courts. I was approached by the Chancery judges. They have been short a court reporter for over a year now. It is within their budget, and to need permission to issue a letter to the AOC stating that there is enough in the Chancery budget, Chancery court budget, Adams County to cover the hiring of the third court reporter.
You heard the request.
So moved.
The motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
I need to have the February tax redemption settlement, please, spread across the minutes.
The request, Chancellor Clerk.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
We have another, this is, if we have the last meeting and maybe the meeting before this, we have another property where the homestead chargeback was placed on the property after the property had been sold, and so the new owner did not have notice of the homestead chargeback when they acquired the property. It is for 206 Jeff Davis Boulevard for PIN 3046, and just need permission from the board to strike that homestead chargeback.
You heard the request.
So moved.
Got a motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
The last item was just to remind the board about, the board needs to make a decision as to who is going to do the tax reduction notices for us, but so the statute has changed just for professional memory, and it allows for either the constable or the sheriff's office to do the service process on those. And we do before sending out our first round of executives in April, so I didn't know if the board wanted to take that up at this meeting. I know the one question was as to how the notices would be tendered over to whoever was going to issue them. And we decided that whoever does the notices, they will actually come to our office. If the constable, same thing, we won't issue the notices to justice court to be served. We will handle those directly from our office page and we do those. So I didn't know if we're going to address that today or take it and address it, at the next meeting.
Well, I ain't really thought about it since I left the last time. Give me one more meeting where I can think about that, please.
Yeah, cause the question was basically.
Sure, well, we'll just put a reminder for next meeting. Thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah, that was the question with Berlin on that, who was gonna handle that, and so they was talking about it, who was gonna handle it. I think that was one of the things that we held up about who's gonna handle, serving the paper. She was concerned about it, so they said Paige would do it. So, I mean, I guess you can take it to another meeting and research what you need.
Paige is already doing it, so it would just save a step.
Yeah, so.
What's his name? Willie really wants to do them, and that's supposed to be better than where we're at.
So we need to figure out, are we gonna allow the sheriff or the deputies or the constable or both of them? What?
It's, I mean, at the moment, I would say if you're gonna either or, either you're gonna let it be the way it's been, or you're gonna ask the constable to do it all. You don't want to.
Well, I mean, when we need to contact the other constable and talk to him too?
He's been in the loop on it, and
Oh, yeah?
he's been talked to about
Who talked to him?
it. Randy has.
Okay, Randy talked to, what's his name? Okay, well, everything's straight then? Don't nobody have a problem?
Yeah.
Wow, I'm gonna hold it up if nobody got no problem.
Randy's gonna participate.
He may not.
Well, that ain't gonna work.
Well, I mean, if Willie B's gonna do them all, then.
What did he say he gonna do? Randy.
He says he doesn't.
What, Brandon, you talk to Randy?
I'm not sure what the problem is there.
Okay, where is he at on this?
He said he certainly doesn't have a problem with the constable doing it, and I think he'll assist where he can. But I think, he said he doesn't mind if Willie has to take on more than he does, he doesn't have a problem with that.
Okay, well. That's it.
My biggest concern was that they have their cameras on when they're doing that, because when they're serving those kind of papers, it could get kind of dicey out there. If we don't have some cover with a camera, then there's no reason for him not to serve them with the camera. If the camera's not on, but I would think everything they serve they should be wearing body cameras, just to prove that they did what they're saying they're doing.
And I did check their budget to see if they put some money in there for them to purchase account it is.
I thought they already had a camera.
They have.
They got everything they need, cameras, pages, everything.
Yeah.
Anything's better than what's been going on.
Yeah.
Quite frankly.
And the sheriff said that it would help him out.
So we need a motion to do this?
So,
yeah, you need to
okay with that, Rich?
I got a problem.
Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second. Second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion?
Yeah, even if.
All in favor?
You need to get a third one done, that's still better.
Okay, so what is the payout? How did that go?
The payout on it is $45 a service.
For the constables and nothing for the sheriff, right?
No, nothing for the sheriff, because if they turn around and do them, then they do them, but at this point, you know.
Go ahead, I'm good.
And the county pays, county gets reimbursed when people come and redeem the property, which is most properties, they get redeemed, not all of them, but most of them. I'm not talking about a huge deficiency. So.
Wes, you call for a vote, man.
he got for one.
No, I ain't.
Oh,
So, all in favor?
Alright.
All opposed? Ayes have it. Brandon, is that all you got?
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey,
I don't have
Ms. Haynes?
There are two things. I would like to square across the minute, the modification for Ford City, they have another modification. And the modification is an increase in their wage rate, they increased their officers to $15.38, coordinators to $17.08, and technology support specialists to $21.64, just need to be square across the minute. There's no cost to count.
Who's saying?
any.
Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.
Okay, the last thing, supervisor raised the time clocks have been ordered. Yeah, I mean. That's it.
All right. That's it?
Yeah, y'all probably that.
I need a motion to approve what y'all just read about the redistricting contract. Motion by Supervisor Wilson, second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. The City Association of Supervisors Minority Caucus, April 6th through 8th. I need a motion to approve travel. Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Gray. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Also have an invoice for the Minority Caucus. Need a motion to pay membership dues. All in favor? Motion by Supervisor Gray, second. Second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, this is, the travel document that she corrected, that she brought in earlier, so I need a motion to approve this. For E911. Motion by Supervisor Gray. Second by Supervisor Gaines. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. This is a grant for trash pickup from the road department, DEQ, $18,307.66. Maybe a motion. Motion by Supervisor Gaines, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Absentee report form for Miss Annette Fells. She is going to be off February 28th to March 14th. Need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Gray, second by Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it. Now, did we discuss that we had already approved this? Last meeting? We still have this jury appointment for the jury commission. Does anybody have any time to think on that? All right, we have got to handle that next meeting. On the bond issue, I just want to touch on, I know we already have, but we need to get that list going and get that rolling so we can get this going pretty quick. Yeah. These rates go up. That's all I have. Need a motion.
Don't y'all forget about the scholarship now.
Need a motion to recess.
So moved.
Motion by Supervisor Gaines, give me a second.
Second.
By Supervisor Wilson. Any discussion? All in favor? All opposed? Ayes have it.